Dramatis Personae of Henry VI Part 1 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dramatis Personae.
Basset of the Red Rose, read by Elizabeth Klatt.
Bastard of Orleans, read by Len Nicholson.
Boy, son of the Master Gunner, read by Christine Blashford.
Captain, read by Teilbauer.
Charles, King of France, read by Peake.
Countess of Auvergne, read by Maria Therese.
Duke of Alencon, read by Ken Goldstein.
The Duke of Bedford, read by Robert Mitchell.
The Duke of Burgundy, read by Sandra.
The Duke of Exeter, read by Andy Minter.
Duke of Gloucester, read by Sean Randall.
Duke Earl of Somerset, read by Larry Womack.
Earl of Salisbury, read by Michael Erskines.
The Earl of Suffolk, read by Frank Booker.
Earl of Warwick, played by Mark Smith of Simpsonville, South Carolina.
Edmund Mortimer, the Earl of March, read by Bruce Peary.
First Gaoler, read by Algy
First Sentinel, First Serving Man, read by John Fricker.
First Soldier, read by Christine Blashford.
First Warder, read by Dale Burgess.
General of the French forces in Bordeaux, read by Len Nicholson.
Henry VI, read by Arielle
LipshawJoan La Pucelle, read by Nadine Eckert-BouletJohn
John Talbot, read by Raven Notation.
Lawyer, Legate, read by Algy Pug.
Lord Mayor of London, read by Martin Geeson.
Lord Talbot, Earl of Shrewsbury, read by Algy Pug.
Master Gunner of Orleans, read by Len Nicholson.
Messenger, read by Elizabeth Klatt.
Officer, read by Christine Blashford.
Porter, read by Lucy Perry. Queen Margaret, read by Elizabeth Klatt.
Rainier, Duke of Anjou, read by Lars Rolander.
Richard Plantagenet, read by David Goldfarb.
Scout, read by Christine Blashford.
Second Sentinel, Second Serving Man, read by Elizabeth Klatt.
Second Warder, read by Teilbauer.
Sergeant, read by Vejgrar.
Servant, read by Karin Heidelsich.
Shepherd, read by Aldor.
Sir William Glansdale, read by Aidan Brack.
Sir John Fastolfe, read by Dale Burgess.
Sir Thomas Gargrave, read by Ric F.
Sir William Lucy, Soldier, read by Christine Blashford.
Third Serving Man, read by Teilbauer.
Vernon of the White Rose, read by David Lawrence.
Bishop of Winchester, read by Jason Mills.
Watch, Woodville, read by Algy Pug.
Narrated by Roseanne Schmidt. End of Dramatis Personae. Act 1 of Henry VI Part 1 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 1, Scene 1. Westminster Abbey. Dead March. Enter the funeral of King Henry V, attended on by Dukes of Bedford, Regent of France, Gloucester, Protector, the Exeter, Earl of Warwick, the Bishop of Winchester, heralds, etc.
Hung be the heavens with black, yield day to night. Comets, importing change of times and states, brandish your crystal tresses in the sky, and with them scourge the bad revolting stars that have consented unto Henry's death. King Henry V, too famous to live long. England ne'er lost a king of so much worth.
England ne'er had a king until his time. Virtue he had, deserving to command. His brandished sword did blind men with his beams. His arms spread wider than the dragon's wings. His sparking eyes replete with wrathful fire. more dazzled and drove back his enemies than the midday sun, fierce, bent against their faces. What should I say? His deeds exceed all speech. He ne'er lift up his hand, but conquered.
We mourn in black. Why mourn we not in blood? Henry is dead, and never shall revive. Upon a wooden coffin we attend, and death's dishonourable victory we with our stately presence glorify, like captives bound to a triumphant car. What, shall we curse the planets of mishap, that plotted thus our glory's overthrow? Or shall we think the subtle-witted French conjurers and sorcerers, that, afraid of him, by magic verses have contrived his end?
He was a king blessed of the King of Kings. Unto the French the dreadful judgment day so dreadful will not be as was his sight. The battles of the Lord of Hosts he fought. The Church's prayers made him so prosperous.
The Church? Where is it? Had not churchmen prayed, his thread of life had not so soon decayed. None do you like but an effeminate prince, whom like a schoolboy you may overawe.
Gloucester, whate'er we like, thou art protector, and lookest to command the prince and realm. Thy wife is proud. She holdeth thee in awe more than God or religious churchmen may.
Name not religion, for thou lovest the flesh. And nay, throughout the year to church thou goest, except it be to pray against thy foes.
Cease, cease these jars, and rest your minds in peace. Let's to the altar. Heralds wait on us. Instead of gold, we'll offer up our arms, since arms avail not now that Henry's dead. Posterity await for wretched years, when at their mother's moist eyes babes shall suck. Our isle be made a nourish of salt tears, and none but women left to wail the dead. Henry V, thy ghost I invocate. Prosper this realm, keep it from civil broils, combat with adverse planets in the heavens. A far more glorious star thy soul will make than Julius Caesar, or bright—
Enter a messenger.
My honourable lords, health to you all. Sad tidings bring I to you out of France, of loss, of slaughter and discomfiture. Guienne, Champagne, Rheims, Orléans, Paris, Gisors, Poitiers are all quite lost.
What sayest thou, man, before dead Henry's corse? Speak softly, or the loss of those great towns will make him burst his lead and rise from death.
Is Paris lost? Is Rouen yielded up? If Henry were recalled to life again, these news would cause him once more yield the ghost.
How were they lost? What treachery was used?
No treachery, but want of men and money. Amongst the soldiers this is muttered, that here you maintain several factions, and whilst a field should be dispatched and fought, you are disputing of your generals. One would have lingering wars with little cost, another would fly swift, but wanteth wings, a third thinks, without expense at all, by guileful fair words peace may be obtained. Awake, awake, English nobility! Let not sloth dim your horrors new begot. Cropped are the flower de luce in your arms, of England's coat one half is cut away.
Were our tears wanting to this funeral, these tidings would call forth their flowing tides.
Me they concern. Regent I am of France. Give me my steeled coat. I'll fight for France. Away with these disgraceful wailing robes. Wounds will I lend the French instead of eyes to weep their intermissive miseries.
Enter to them another messenger.
Lords, view these letters full of bad mischance. France is revolted from the English quite, except some petty towns of no import. The Dauphin Charles is crowned King of Rheims. The Bastard of Orleans with him is joined. Regnier, Duke of Anjou, doth take his part. The Duke of Alençon flieth to his side.
The Dauphin crowned king, all fly to him. Oh, whither shall we fly from this reproach?
We will not fly, but to our enemies' throats. Bedford, if thou be slack, I will fight it out.
Gloucester, why doubt'st thou of my forwardness? An army have I mustered in my thoughts, wherewith already France is overrun.
Enter another messenger.
My gracious lords, to add to your laments, wherewith you now bedew King Henry's hearse, I must inform you of a dismal fight betwixt the stout Lord Talbot and the French.
What, wherein Talbot overcame, is't so?
Oh no, wherein Lord Talbot was o'erthrown. The circumstance I'll tell you more at large. The 10th of August last, this dreadful lord, retiring from the siege of Orleans, having full scarce 6,000 in his troop, by 23,000 of the French was round encompassed and set upon. No leisure had he to enrank his men. He wanted pikes to set before his archers. Instead whereof sharp stakes plucked out of hedges they pitched in the ground confusedly, to keep the horsemen off from breaking in. More than 3 hours the fight continued, where valiant Talbot above human thought enacted wonders with his sword and lance. Hundreds he sent to hell, and none durst stand him. Here, there, and everywhere enraged he flew. The French exclaimed the devil was in arms. All the whole army stood gazed on him. His soldiers spying his undaunted spirit, a Talbot, cried out amain, and rushed into the bowels of the battle. Here had the conquest fully been sealed up, if Sir John Fastolfe had not played the coward. He, being an avowed, placed behind with purpose to relieve and follow them, cowardly fled, not having struck one stroke. Hence grew the general wreck and massacre. Enclosed were they with their enemies. A base Walloon, to win the Dauphin's grace, thrust Talbot with a spear into the back, whom all France with their chief assembled strength durst not presume to look once in the face.
Is Talbot slain? Then I will slay myself for living idly here in pomp and ease, whilst such a worthy leader wanting aid unto his dastard foeman is betrayed.
Oh no, he lives, but is took prisoner, and Lord Scales with him, and Lord Hungerford, most of the rest slaughtered or took likewise.
His ransom there is none but I shall pay. I'll hale the Dauphin headlong from his throne. His crown shall be the ransom of my friend. 4 of their lords I'll change for 1 of ours. Farewell, my masters, to my task will I. Bonfires in France forthwith I am to make, to keep our great St. George's feast withal. 10,000 soldiers with me I will take, whose bloody deeds shall make all Europe quake.
So you had need, for Orleans is besieged. The English army is grown weak and faint. The Earl of Salisbury craveth supply, and hardly keeps his men from mutiny, since they so few watch such a multitude.
Remember, lords, your oaths to Henry sworn, either to quell the Dauphin utterly, or bring him in obedience to your yoke.
I do remember it, and here take my leave to go about my preparation.
Exit.
I'll to the tower with all the haste I can, to view the artillery and munition, and then I will proclaim young Henry king.
Exit.
To Eltham will I, where the young king is, being ordained his special governor, and for his safety there I'll best devise.
Exit.
Each hath his place and function to attend. I am left out. For me nothing remains. But long I will not be Jack out of office. The king from Eltham I intend to steal, and sit at chief astern of public weal.
Exeunt. Scene 2. France. Before Orleans. Sound a flourish. Enter Charles, Alençon, and Rainier, marching with drum and soldiers.
Mars is true moving, even as in the heaven, so on the earth, to this day is not known. Late did he shine upon the English side. Now we are victors, upon us he smiles. What towns of any moment but we have? At pleasure here we lie near Orleans. Otherwise the famished English, like pale ghosts, faintly besiege us 1 hour in a month.
They want their porridge and their fat bull beeves. Either they must be dieted like mules and have their provender tied to their mouths, or piteous they will look like drowned mice.
Let's raise the siege, why live we idly here? Talbot is taken whom we wont to fear. Remaineth none but mad-brained Salisbury, and he may well in fighting spend his gall, nor men nor money hath he to make war.
Sound alarm! We will rush on them. Now for the honour of the forlorn French. Him I forgive my death that killeth me when he sees me go back on 1 foot or fly.
Exeunt. Here alarm. They are beaten back by the English, with great loss. Re-enter Charles, Alençon, and Rainier.
Who e'er saw their like? What men have I? Dogs, Cowards! Dastards! I would ne'er have fled but that they left me midst my enemies.
Salisbury is a desperate homicide. He fighteth as one weary of his life. The other lords, like lions wanting food, do rush upon us as their hungry prey.
Froissart, a countryman of ours, records, England all Olivers and Rolands bred, during the time Edward III did reign. More truly now may this be verified, for none but Samsons and Goliases it sendeth forth to skirmish, 1 to 10, lean raw-boned rascals, who would e'er suppose they had such courage and audacity?
Let's leave this town, for they are hair-brained slaves, and hunger will enforce them to be more eager. Of old I know them, rather with their teeth the walls they'll tear down than forsake the siege.
I think by some odd gimors or device, their arms are set like clocks stiff to strike on, else ne'er could they hold out so as they do. By my consent we'll even let them alone.
Be it so.
Enter the Bastard of Orleans.
Where's the Prince Dauphin? I have news for him.
Bastard of Orleans, thrice welcome to us.
Methinks your looks are sad, your cheer appalled. Hath the late overthrow wrought this offence? Be not dismayed, for succour is at hand. A holy maid hither with me I bring, which by a vision sent to her from heaven ordained us to raise this tedious siege, and drive the English forth the bounds of France. The spirit of deep prophecy she hath, exceeding the 9 sibyls of old Rome. What's past and what's to come she can descry. Speak, shall I call her in? Believe my words, for they are certain and infallible.
Go, call her in.
Exit the Bastard of Orleans.
But first, to try her skill, Regnier, stand thou as Dauphin in my place. Question her proudly, let thy looks be stern. By this means shall we sound what skill she hath.
Re-enter the Bastard of Orleans with Joan La Pucelle.
Fair maid, is thou wilt to do these wondrous feats?
Regnier, is it thou that thinkest to beguile me? Where is the Dauphin? Come, come from behind. I know thee well, though never seen before. Be not amazed, there's nothing hid from me. In private will I talk with thee apart. Stand back, you lords, and give us leave a while.
She takes upon her bravely at first dash.
Dauphin, I am by birth a shepherd's daughter, my wit untrained in any kind of art. Heaven and Our Lady gracious has it pleased to shine on my contemptible estate. Lo, whilst I waited on my tender lambs, and to sun's parching heat displayed my cheeks, God's mother deigned to appear to me, and in a vision full of majesty willed me to leave my base vocation and free my country from calamity. Her aid she promised and assured success. In complete glory she revealed herself, and, whereas I was black and swart before, with those clear rays which she infused on me, that beauty am I blessed with which you see. Ask me what question thou canst possible, and I will answer unpremeditated. My courage try by combat, if thou darest, and thou shalt find that I exceed my sex. Resolve on this, thou shalt be fortunate if thou receive me for thy warlike mate.
Thou hast astonished me with thy high terms. Only this proof I'll of thy valour make. In single combat thou shalt buckle with me, and if thou vanquishest, thy words are true. Otherwise I renounce all confidence.
I am prepared. Here is my keen-edged sword, decked with 5 flowered luces on each side, the which at Touraine, in St. Catherine's churchyard, out of a great deal of old iron I chose forth.
Then come, o God's name, I fear no woman.
And while I live, I'll ne'er fly from a man.
They fight, and Joan La Pucelle overcomes.
Stay, stay thy hands! Thou art an Amazon, and fightest with the sword of Deborah.
Christus mother helps me, else I were too weak.
Whoever helps thee, 'tis thou that must help me. Impatiently I burn with thy desire, my heart and hands thou hast at once subdued. Excellent Pucelle, if thy name be so, let me thy servant and not sovereign be. 'Tis the French Dauphin sueth to thee thus.
I must not yield to any rites of love, for my profession's sacred from above. When I have chased all thy foes from hence, then will I think upon the recompense.
Meantime, look gracious on thy prostrate thrall.
My lord, methinks is very long in talk.
Doubtless he shrives this woman to her smock, else ne'er could he so long protract his speech.
Shall we disturb him, since he keeps no mean?
He may mean more than we poor men do know. These women are shrewd tempters with their tongues.
My lord, where are you? What devise you on? Shall we give over Orleans, or no?
Why, no, I say, distrustful recreants. Fight till the last gasp. I will be your guard.
What she says I'll confirm. We'll fight it out.
Assigned am I to be the English scourge. This night the siege assuredly I'll raise. Expect St. Martin's summer, halcyon days, since I have entered into these wars. Glory is like a circle in the water, which never ceases to enlarge itself, till by broad spreading it disperse to naught. With Henri's death the English circle ends. Dispersed are the glories it included. Now am I like that proud insulting ship which Caesar and his fortune bear at once?
Was Mahomet inspired with a dove? Thou with an eagle art inspired then. Helen, the mother of great Constantine, nor yet son Philip's daughters were like thee. Bright star of Venus, fallen down on the earth, how may I reverently worship thee enough?
Leave off delays, and let us raise the siege.
Woman, do what thou canst to save our honours. Drive them from Orleans, and be immortalized.
Presently we'll try. Come, let's away about it. No prophet will I trust if she prove false.
Exeunt. Scene 3, London, before the Tower. Enter Gloucester with his serving men in blue coats.
I am come to survey the Tower this day. Since Henry's death, I fear there is conveyance. Where be these warders that they wait not here? Open the gates, 'tis Gloucester that calls.
Within.
Who's there that knocks so imperiously?
It is the noble Duke of Gloucester.
Where he be, you may not be let in.
Villains, answer you so the Lord Protector?
The Lord protect him. So we answer him. We do no otherwise than we are willed.
Who willed you? Or whose will stands but mine? There's none protector of the realm but I. Break up the gates, I'll be your warrant eyes. Shall I be flouted thus by dunghill grooms?
Gloucester's men rush at the Tower gates, and Woodville, the lieutenant, speaks within.
What noise is this? What traitors have we here?
Lieutenant, is it you whose voice I hear? Open the gates, here's Gloucester that would enter.
Have patience, noble Duke. I may not open. The Cardinal of Winchester forbids. From him I have express commandment that thou, or none of thine, shall be let in.
Faint-hearted Woodvile, prizest him for me? Arrogant Winchester, that haughty prelate, whom Henry, our late sovereign, ne'er could brook? Thou art no friend to God or to the king. Open the gates, or I'll shut thee out shortly.
Open the gates unto the Lord Protector, or we'll burst them open, if that you come not quickly.
Enter to the Protector of the Tower gates, Bishop of Winchester and his men in tawny coats.
How now, ambitious Humphrey? What means this?
Peeled priest, dost thou command me to be shut out?
I do, thou most usurping proditor, and not protector of the king or realm.
Stand back, thou manifest conspirator, thou that contrivet'st to murder our dead lord, thou that givest whores indulgences to sin. I'll canvass thee in thy broad cardinal's hat, if thou proceed in this thy insolence.
Nay, stand thou back, I will not budge a foot. This be Damascus,
Be thou cursed Cain to slay thy brother Abel, if thou wilt.
I will not slay thee, but I'll drive thee back. Thy scarlet robes as a child's burying cloth I'll use to carry thee out of this place.
Do what thou darest. I bid thee to thy face.
What? Am I dead and bearded to my face? Draw, men, for all this privileged place. Blue coats to tawny coats. Priest, beware your beard. I mean to tug it and to cuff you soundly. Under my feet I stamp thy cardinal's hat. In spite of pope or dignities of church, here by the cheeks I'll drag thee up and down.
Gloucester, thou wilt answer this before the Pope.
Winchester goose, I cry, a rope, a rope! Now, beat them hence. Why do you let them stay? Thee I'll chase hence, thou wolf in sheep's array. Out, tawny coat, out, scarlet hypocrite!
Here Gloucester's men beat out Bishop of Winchester's men, and enter in the hurly-burly the Mayor of London and his officers.
Fie, lords, that you, being supreme magistrates, thus contumeliously should break the peace.
Peace, Mayor? Thou knowest little of my wrongs. Here's Beaufort, that regards nor God nor king, hath here to strain the tower to his use.
Here's Gloucester, a foe to citizens, one that still motions war and never peace, overcharging your free purses with large fines, that seeks to overthrow religion, because he is protector of the realm, and would have armour here out of the tower, to crown himself king and suppress the prince.
I will not answer thee with words, but blows.
Here they skirmish again.
Naught rests for me in this tumultuous strife, but to make open proclamation. Come, officer, as loud as e'er thou canst, cry.
All manner of men assembled here in arms this day against God's peace and the king's, we charge and command you in his highness's name to repair to your several dwelling places, and not to wear, handle, or use any sword, weapon, or dagger henceforward upon pain of death.
Cardinal, I'll be no breaker of the law, but we shall meet, and break our minds at large.
Gloucester, we will meet, to thy cost be sure. Thy heart blood I will have for this day's work.
I'll call for clubs, if you will not away. This cardinal's more haughty than the devil.
Mayor, farewell. Thou does but what thou mayest.
Abominable Gloucester, guard thy head, for I intend to have it ere long.
Exeunt severally Gloucester and the Bishop of Winchester with their serving men.
See the coast cleared, and then we will depart. Good God, these nobles should such stomachs bear. I myself fight not once in 40 year.
Exeunt. Scene 4, Orleans. Enter on the walls a master gunner and his boy.
Sirrah, thou know'st how Orleans is besieged, and how the English have the suburbs won.
Father, I know, and oft have shot at them. Howe'er unfortunate I missed my aim.
But now thou shalt not. Be thou ruled by me. Chief master gunner am I of this town. Something I must do to procure me grace. The prince's espials have informed me how the English in the suburbs close entrenched want through a secret grate of iron bars in yonder tower to overpeer the city, and thence discover how with most advantage they may vex us with shot or with assault. To intercept this inconvenience, a piece of ordnance against it I have placed, and even these 3 days have I watched, if I could see them. Now do thou watch, for I can stay no longer. If thou spiest any, run and bring me word, and thou shalt find me at the governor's.
Exit.
Father, I warrant you, take you no care. I'll never trouble you, if I may spy them.
Exit. Enter on turrets Salisbury and Talbot, Glansdale, Gargrave, and others.
Talbot, my life, my joy, again returned. How wert thou handled being prisoner, or by what means gotst thou to be released? Discourse, I prithee, on this turret's top.
The Duke of Bedford had a prisoner, called the brave Lord Ponton de Sangray. For him was I exchanged and ransomed, but with a baser man of arms by far. Once in contempt they would have bartered me, which I, disdaining, scorned, and craved death, rather than I would be so vile esteemed. In fine, redeemed I was as I desired. But oh, the treacherous Fastolfe wounds my heart, whom with my bare fists I would execute, if I now had him brought into my power.
Yet tell'st thou not how thou wert entertained?
With scoffs and scorns and contumelious taunts, in open market-place produced they me, to be a public spectacle to all. Here, said they, is the terror of the French, the scarecrow that affrights our children so. Then broke I from the officers that led me, and with my nails digged stones out of the ground, to hurl at the beholders of my shame. My grisly countenance made others fly. None durst come near, for fear of sudden death. In iron walls they deemed me not secure. So great fear of my name mongst them was spread, that they supposed I could rend bars of steel, and spurn in pieces posts of adamant. Wherefore a guard of chosen shot I had, that walked about me every minute while, and if I did but stir out of my bed, ready they were to shoot me to the heart.
Enter the boy with the linstock.
I grieve to hear what torments you endured, but we will be revenged sufficiently. Now it is supper time in Orleans. Here through this grate I count each one, and view the Frenchmen how they fortify. Let us look in, the sight will much delight thee. Sir Thomas Gargrave and Sir William Glansdale, let me have your express opinions. Where is the best place to make our battery next?
I think at the north gate, for there stand lords.
And I here, at the bulwark of the bridge.
For aught I see, the city must be famished, or with light skirmishes enfeebled.
Here they shoot. Salisbury and Gargrave fall.
O Lord, have mercy on us wretched sinners.
O Lord, have mercy on me, woeful man.
What chance is this that suddenly hath crossed us? Speak, Salisbury, at least if thou canst speak. How farest thou, mirror of all martial men? One of thy eyes and thy cheek side struck off. Accursed tower, accursed fatal hand that hath contrived this woeful tragedy. In 13 battles Salisbury overcame. Henry V he first trained to the wars, whilst any trump did sound or drum struck up, his sword did ne'er leave striking in the field. Yet livest thou, Salisbury? Though thy speech doth fail, one eye thou hast to look to heaven for grace. The sun with one eye vieweth all the world. Heaven, be thou gracious to none alive, if Salisbury wants mercy at thy hands. Bear hence his body, I will help to bury it. Sir Thomas Gargrave, hast thou any life? Speak unto Talbot. Nay, look up to him. Salisbury, cheer thy spirit with his comfort. Thou shalt not die whiles. He beckons with his hand and smiles on me, as who should say, when I am dead and gone, remember to avenge me on the French. Plantagenet I will, and like thee, Nero, play on the lute, beholding the towns burn. Wretched shall France be only in my name.
Hear an alarum, and it thunders and lightens.
What stir is this? What tumult's in the heavens? Whence comes this alarum and the noise?
Enter a messenger.
My lord, the French have gathered head. The Dauphin with one Joan La Pucelle joined, a holy prophetess new risen up, is come with great power to raise the siege.
Here Salisbury lifteth himself up and groans.
Here how dying Salisbury doth groan. It irks his heart he cannot be revenged. Frenchmen, I'll be a Salisbury to you. Pucelle or Puzzle, Dolphin or Dogfish. Your hearts will stamp out with my horse's heels, and make a quagmire of your mingled brains. Convey me Salisbury into his tent, and then we'll try what these dastard Frenchmen dare.
Alarum. Exeunt. Scene 5, the same. Here an alarum again, and Talbot pursueth the Dauphin and driveth him. Then enter Joan La Pucelle, driving Englishmen before her, and exit after them. Then re-enter Talbot.
Where is my strength, my valour, and my force? Our English troops retire, I cannot stay them. A woman clad in armour chaseth them.
Re-enter Joan La Pucelle.
Here she comes. I'll have a bout with thee. Devil, for devil's dam I'll conjure thee. Blood will I draw on thee. Thou art a witch, and straightway give thy soul to him thou servest.
Come, come, 'tis only I that must disgrace thee.
Here they fight.
Heavens, can you suffer hell so to prevail? My breast outburst with straining of my courage, and from my shoulders crack my arms asunder. But I will chastise this high-minded strumpet.
They fight again.
Talbot, farewell. Thy hour is not yet come. I must go victor Orleans forthwith.
A short alarum. Then enter the town with soldiers.
Overtake me, if thou canst. I scorn thy strength. Go, go, cheer up thy hungry starved man. Help Salisbury to make his testament. This day is ours, as many more shall be.
Exit.
My thoughts are whirred, like a potter's wheel. I know not where I am, nor what I do. A witch, by fear, not force, like Hannibal, drives back our troops and conquers as she lists. So bees with smoke and doves with noisome stench are from their hives and houses driven away. They called us for our fierceness English dogs. Now, like to whelps, we crying run away.
A short alarum.
Our countrymen, either renew the fight, or tear the lions out of England's coat. Renounce your soil, give sheep in lions' stead. Sheep run not so half so treacherous from the wolf, or horse or oxen from the leopard, as you fly from your oft subdued slaves.
Alarum. Here another skirmish.
It will not be. Retire into your trenches. You all consented unto Salisbury's death, for none would strike a stroke in his revenge. Pucelle is entered into Orleans, in spite of us, or aught that we could do. Oh, were I to die with Salisbury, the shame hereof will make me hide my head.
Exit Talbot. Alarum. Retreat. Flourish. Scene 6. The same. Enter on the walls Joan La Pucelle, Charles, Rainier, Alençon, and soldiers.
Advance our waving colours on the walls. Rescue this Orleans from the English. Thus Joan La Pucelle has performed her word.
Divinest creature, Astræa's daughter, how shall I honour thee for this success? Thy promises are like Adonis' gardens, that one day bloomed and fruitful were the next. France, triumph in thy glorious prophetess. Recovered is the town of Orleans. More blessed hap did ne'er befall our state.
Why ring not out the bells aloud throughout the town? Dauphin, command the citizens make bonfires and feast and banquet in the open streets to celebrate the joy that God hath given us.
All France will be replete with mirth and joy when they shall hear how we have played the men.
'Tis Joan, not we, by whom the day is won, for which I will divide my crown with her, and all the priests and friars in my realm shall in procession sing her endless praise. A statelier pyramus to her I'll rear than Rodolph's or Memphis ever was. In memory of her when she is dead, her ashes in an urn more precious than the rich jewel of Darius, transported shall be at high festivals before the kings and queens of France. No longer on Saint Denis will we cry, but Joan La Pucelle shall be France's saint. Come in, and let us banquet royally after this golden day of victory.
Flourish. Exeunt. End of Act 1. Act 2 of Henry VI, Part 1. by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1, Before Orleans. Enter a sergeant of a band with 2 sentinels.
Sirs, take your places, and be vigilant. If any noise or soldier you perceive near to the walls, by some apparent sign let us have knowledge at the court of guard.
Sergeant, you shall.
Exit Sergeant.
Thus our poor servitors, when others sleep upon their quiet beds, constrained to watch in darkness, rain, and cold.
Enter Talbot, Bedford, Burgundy, and forces, with scaling ladders. Their drums beat a dead march.
Lord Regent and redoubted Burgundy, by whose approach the regions of Artois, Wallon, and Picardy are friends to us. This happy night the Frenchmen are secure, having all day caroused and banqueted. Embrace we then this opportunity as fitting best acquittance their deceit, contrived by art and baleful sorcery.
Coward of France, how much he wrongs his fame, despairing of his own arm's fortitude, to join with witches and the help of hell.
Traitors have never other company. But what's that Pucelle of whom they term so pure?
A maid, they say.
A maid? And be so martial?
Pray God she prove not masculine ere long, if underneath the standard of the French she carry armour as she hath begun.
Well, let them practice and converse with spirits. God is our fortress, in whose conquering name let us resolve to scale a flinty bulwarks.
Ascend, brave Talbot, we will follow thee.
Not altogether, better far, I guess, that we do make our entrance several ways, that, if it chance the one of us do fail, the other yet may rise against their force.
Agreed. I'll to yond corner.
And I to this.
And here will Talbot mount, or make his grave. And now, Salisbury, for thee, and for the right of English Henry, shall this night appear, how much in duty I am bound to both.
Arm! Arm! The enemy doth make assault!
Cry, St. George, a Talbot! The French leap over the walls in their shirts. Enter, several ways, the Bastard of Orleans, Alencon, and Rainier, half ready and half unready.
How now, my lords? What, all unready so?
Unready, aye, and glad we scaped so well.
'Twas time, I trow, to wake and leave our beds, hearing alarums at our chamber doors.
Of all exploits since first I followed arms, ne'er heard I of a warlike enterprise more venturous or desperate than this.
I think this Talbot be a fiend of hell.
If not of hell, the heavens sure favour him.
Here cometh Charles, I marvel how he sped.
Tut! Holy John was his defensive guard.
Enter Charles and Joan La Pucelle.
Is this thy cunning, thou deceitful dame? Didst thou at first to flatter us withal, make us partakers of a little gain, that now our loss might be 10 times so much?
Wherefore is Charles impatient with his friend? At all times will you have my power alike? Sleeping or waking, must I still prevail, or will you blame and lay the fault on me? Improvident soldiers! Had your watch been good, this sudden mischief never could have fallen.
Duke of Alencon, this was your default, that being captain of the watch to-night, did look no better to that weighty charge?
Had all your quarters been as safely kept as that whereof I had the government, we had not been thus shamefully surprised.
Mine was secure.
And so was mine, my lord.
And for myself, most part of all this night within her quarter and mine own precinct, I was employed in passing to and fro about relieving of the sentinels. Then how or which way should they first break in?
Question, my lords, no further of the case. How or which way? 'Tis sure they found some place but weakly guarded, where the breach was made, and now there rests no other shift but this, to gather our soldiers, scattered and dispersed, and lay new platforms to undamage them.
Alarum. Enter an English soldier, crying, "A Talbot! A Talbot!" They fly, leaving their clothes behind.
I'll be so bold to take what they have left. The cry of Talbot serves me for a sword, for I have loaden me with many spoils, using no other weapon but his name.
Exit. Scene 2. Orleans. Within the town. Enter Talbot, Bedford, Burgundy, a captain, and others.
The day begins to break, and night is fled, whose pitchy mantle overveiled the earth. Here sound retreat, and cease our hot pursuit.
Retreat sounded.
Bring forth the body of old Salisbury, and here advance it in the market-place, the middle centre of this cursed town. Now have I paid my vow unto his soul. For every drop of blood was drawn from him, there hath at least 5 Frenchmen died tonight. And that hereafter ages may behold what ruin happened in revenge of him, within the chiefest temple I'll erect the tomb, wherein his corpse shall be interred, upon the which, that everyone may read, shall be engraved the sack of Orleans, the treacherous manner of his mournful death, and what a terror he had been to France. But, lords, in all our bloody massacre, I muse we met not with the Dauphin's grace, his new-found champion, virtuous Joan of Arc, nor any of his false confederates.
'Tis thought, Lord Talbot, when the fight began, roused on the sudden from their drowsy beds, they did amongst the troops of armed men leap o'er the walls for refuge in the field.
Myself, as far as I could well discern for smoke and dusky vapours of the night, am sure I scared the Dolphin and his trull, when arm in arm they both came swiftly running, like to a pair of loving turtle-doves that could not live asunder day or night. After that, things are set in order here. We'll follow them with all the power we have.
Enter a messenger.
All hail, my lords. Which of this princely train call ye the warlike Talbot, for his act so much applauded through the realm of France?
Here is the Talbot. Who would speak with him?
The virtuous lady, Countess of Auvergne, with modesty admiring thy renown, by me entreats, great lord, thou wouldst vouchsafe to visit her poor castle where she lies, that she may boast she hath beheld the man whose glory fills the world with loud report.
Is it even so? Nay then, I see our wars will turn into a peaceful comic sport, when ladies crave to be encountered with. You may not, my lord, despise her gentle suit.
Nay, trust me then, for when a word of men could not prevail with all their oratory, yet hath a woman's kindness overruled. And therefore tell her I return great thanks, and in submission will attend on her. Will not your honours bear me company?
No, truly. It is more than manners will, and I have heard it said unbidden guests are often welcomest when they are gone.
Well then, alone, since there's no remedy, I mean to prove this lady's courtesy. Come hither, captain.
Whispers.
You perceive my mind.
I do, my lord, and mean accordingly.
Exeunt. Scene 3. Auvergne. The Countess's castle. Enter the Countess and her porter.
Porter, remember what I gave in charge, and when you have done so, bring the keys to me.
Madam, I will.
Exit.
The plot is laid. If all things fall out right, I shall as famous be by this exploit as Scythian Tomras by Cyrus's death. Great is the rumour of this dreadful knight, and his achievements of no less account. Fain would mine eyes be witness with mine ears, to give their censure of these rare reports.
Enter messenger and Talbot.
Madam, according as your ladyship desired, by message craved, so is Lord Talbot come.
And he is welcome. What? Is this the man?
Madam, it is.
Is this the scourge of France? Is this the Talbot so much feared abroad, that with his name the mothers still their babes? I see report is fabulous and false. I thought I should have seen some Hercules, a second Hector, for his grim aspect, and large proportioned of his strong-knit limbs. Alas, this is a child, a silly dwarf. It cannot be this weak and writhed shrimp should strike such terror to his enemies.
Madam, I have been bold to trouble you, but since your ladyship is not at leisure, I'll sought some other time to visit you.
What means he now? Go ask him whither he goes.
Stay, my Lord Talbot, for my lady craves to know the cause of your abrupt departure.
Marry, for that she's in a wrong belief. I go to certify her Talbot's here.
Re-enter Porter with keys.
If thou be he, then art thou prisoner.
Prisoner? To whom?
To me, bloodthirsty lord, and for that cause I train thee to my house. Long time thy shadow hath been thrall to me, for in my gallery thy picture hangs. But now the substance shall endure the like, and I will chain these legs and arms of thine, that hast by tyranny these many years wasted our country, slain our citizens, and sent our sons and husbands captivate. Laughest thou, wretch? Thy mirth shall turn to moan.
I laugh to see your ladyship so fond, to think that you have aught but Talbot's shadow, whereon to practice your severity.
Why, art not thou the man?
I am indeed.
Then have I substance too.
No, no, I am but the shadow of myself. You are deceived. My substance is not here, for what you see is but the smallest part and least proportion of humanity. I tell you, madam, were the whole frame here, it is of such spacious, lofty pitch, your roof were not sufficient to contain it.
This is a riddling merchant for the nonce. He will be here, and yet he is not here. How can these contrarieties agree?
That will I show you presently.
Winds his horn. Drums strike up, a peal of ordnance. Enter soldiers.
I'll see you, madam. Are you now persuaded that Talbot is but shadow of himself? These are his substance, sinews, arms, and strength, with which he yoketh your rebellious necks, razeth your cities, and subverts your towns, and in a moment makes them desolate.
Victorious Talbot, pardon my abuse. I find thou art no less than fame hath bruited, and more than may be gathered by thy shape. Let my presumption not provoke thy wrath, for I am sorry that with reverence I did not entertain thee as thou art.
Be not dismayed, fair lady, nor misconstrue the mind of Talbot, as you did mistake the outward composition of his body. What you have done hath not offended me. No other satisfaction do I crave, but only with your patience, that we may taste of your wine, and see what gates you have. For soldiers' stomachs always serve them well.
With all my heart, and think me honoured to feast so great a warrior in my house.
Exeunt. Scene 4, London. The Temple Garden. Enter the Earls of Somerset, Suffolk, and Warwick, Richard Plantagenet, Vernon, and another lawyer.
Great lords and gentlemen, what means this silence? Dare no man answer in a case of truth?
Within the temple wall we were too loud. The garden here is more convenient.
Then say at once if I maintained the truth, or else was wrangling Somerset in the error.
Faith, I have been a truant in the law, and never yet could frame my will to it, and therefore frame the law unto my will.
Judge you, my lord of Warwick, then between us.
Between two hawks, which flies the higher pitch? Between two dogs, which hath the deeper mouth? Between two blades, which bears the better temper? Between two horses, which doth bear him best? Between two girls, which hath the merriest eye? I have perhaps some shallow spirit of judgment, but in these nice sharp quillets of the law, good faith, I am no wiser than a daw.
Tut, tut, here is a mannerly forbearance. The truth appears so naked on my side that any purblind eye may find it out.
And on my side it is so well apparelled, so clear, so shining, and so evident, that it will glimmer through a blind man's eye.
Since you are tongue-tied and so loath to speak, in dumb significance proclaim your thoughts. Let him that is a true-born gentleman, and stands upon the honour of his birth, if he suppose that I have pleaded truth, from off this briar pluck a white rose with me.
Let him that is no coward nor no flatterer, but dare maintain the party of the truth, pluck a red rose from off this thorn with me.
I love no colours, and without all colour of base insinuating flattery, I pluck this white rose with Plantagenet.
I pluck this red rose with young Somerset, and say withal I think he held the right.
Stay, lords and gentlemen, and pluck no more, till you conclude that he upon whose side the fewest roses are cropped from the tree shall yield the other in the right opinion.
Good Master Vernon, it is well objected. If I have fewest, I subscribe in silence.
And I.
Then for the truth and plainness of the case, I pluck this pale and maiden blossom here, giving my verdict on the white rose side.
Prick not your finger as you pluck it off, lest bleeding you do paint the white rose red, and fall on my side so, against your will.
If I, my lord, for my opinion bleed, opinion shall be surgeon to my hurt, and keep me on the side where still I am.
Well, well, come on, who else?
Unless my study and my books be false, the argument to be held was wrong in you.
To Somerset.
In sign whereof, I pluck a white rose too.
Now, Somerset, where is your argument?
Here in my scabbard, meditating that shall dye your white rose in a bloody red.
Meantime, your cheeks do counterfeit our roses, for pale they look with fear, as witnessing the truth on our side.
No, Plantagenet, 'tis not for fear, but anger thy cheeks blush for pure shame to counterfeit our roses, and yet thy tongue will not confess thy error.
Hath not thy rose a canker, Somerset?
Hath not thy rose a thorn, Plantagenet?
Ay, sharp and piercing, to maintain his truth, whiles thy consuming canker eats his falsehood.
Well, I'll find friends to wear my bleeding roses that shall maintain what I have said is true, where false, Plantagenet, dare not be seen.
Now by this maiden blossom in my hand I scorn thee and thy fashion, peevish boy.
Turn not thy scorns this way, Plantagenet.
Proud Pole, I will, and scorn both him and thee.
I'll turn my part thereof into thy throat.
Away, away, good William de la Pole. We grace the yeoman by conversing with him.
Now, by God's will, thou wrongest him, Somerset. His grandfather was Lionel, Duke of Clarence, third son to the 3rd Edward, King of England. Spring crestless yeoman from so deep a root?
He bears him on the place's privilege, or durst not for his craven heart say thus.
By him that made me, I'll maintain my words on any plot of ground in Christendom. Was not thy father, Richard Earl of Cambridge, for treason executed in our late king's days? And by his treason stand'st not thou attainted, corrupted, and exempt from ancient gentry? His trespass yet lives guiltily in thy blood, and till thou be restored, thou art a yeoman.
My father was attached, not attainted, condemned to die for treason, but no traitor, and that I'll prove on better men than Somerset were growing time once ripened to my will. For your partaker Pole, and you yourself, I'll note you in my book of memory to scourge you for this apprehension. Look to it well, and say you are well warned.
Ah, thou shalt find us ready for thee still, and know us by these colours for thy foes, for these, my friends, in spite of thee, shall wear.
And by my soul, this pale and angry rose, as cognizance of my blood-drinking hate, will I forever and my faction wear, until it wither with me to my grave, or flourish to the height of my degree.
Go forward and be choked with thy ambition, and so farewell, until I meet thee next.
Exit.
Have with thee, Pole. Farewell, ambitious Richard.
Exit.
How I am braved, and must perforce endure it.
This blot that they object against your house shall be wiped out in the next Parliament called for the truce of Winchester and Gloucester, and if thou be not then created York, I will not live to be accounted Warwick. Meantime, in signal of my love to thee, against proud Somerset and William Pole will I upon thy party wear this rose, and here I prophesy, this brawl today, grown to this faction in the Temple Garden, shall send between the red rose and the white 1,000 souls to death and deadly night.
Good Master Vernon, I am bound to you, that you on my behalf would pluck a flower.
In your behalf, still I will wear the same.
And so will I.
Thanks, gentle sir. Come, let us for to dinner. I dare say this quarrel will drink blood another day.
Exeunt. Scene 5. The Tower of London. Enter Mortimer, brought in a chair, and jailers.
Kind keepers of my weak decaying age, let dying Mortimer here rest himself. Even like a man new haled from the rack, so fare my limbs with long imprisonment. And these grey locks, the pursuivants of death, Nestor-like, aged in an age of care, argue the end of Edmund Mortimer. These eyes, like lamps whose wasting oil is spent, wax dim, as drawing to their exigent. Weak shoulders, overborne with burthening grief, and pithless arms, like to a withered vine that droops his sapless branches to the ground. Yet are these feet, whose strengthless stay is numb, unable to support this lump of clay, swift-winged with desire to get a grave, as witting I no other comfort have. But tell me, keeper, will my nephew come?
Richard Plantagenet, my lord, will come. We sent unto the temple, unto his chamber. An answer was returned that he will come.
Enough. My soul shall then be satisfied. Poor gentleman, his wrong doth equal mine. Since Henry Monmouth first began to reign, before whose glory I was great in arms, this loathsome sequestration have I had, and even since then hath Richard been obscured, deprived of honour and inheritance. But now the arbitrator of despairs, just death, kind umpire of men's miseries, with sweet enlargement doth dismiss me hence. I would his troubles likewise were expired, that so he might recover what was lost.
Enter Richard Plantagenet.
My lord, your loving nephew now is come.
Richard Plantagenet, my friend, is he come?
Ay, noble uncle, thus ignobly used. Your nephew, late despised Richard, comes.
Direct mine arms I may embrace his neck, and in his bosom spend my latter gasp. Oh, tell me when my lips do touch his cheeks, that I may kindly give one fainting kiss. And now declare, sweet stem from York's great stock, why didst thou say, of late thou wert despised?
First lean thine aged back against mine arm, and, in that ease, I'll tell thee my dis-ease. This day, in argument upon a case, some words there grew twixt Somerset and me, among which terms he used his lavish tongue, and did upbraid me with my father's death, which obloquy set bars before my tongue, else with the like I had requited him. Therefore, good uncle, for my father's sake, in honour of a true Plantagenet, and for alliance sake, declare the cause my father, Earl of Cambridge, lost his head.
That cause, fair nephew, that imprisoned me, and hath detained me all my flowering youth within a loathsome dungeon, there to pine, was cursed instrument of his decease.
Discover more at large what cause that was, for I am ignorant and cannot guess.
I will, if that my fading breath permit, and death approach not ere my tale be done. Henry IV, grandfather to this king, deposed his nephew Richard, Edward's son, the first begotten and the lawful heir of Edward King, the third of that descent. During whose reign the Percys of the north, finding his usurpation most unjust, endeavoured my advancement to the throne. The reason moved these warlike lords to this was, for that, young King Richard thus removed, leaving no heir begotten of his body, I was the next by birth and parentage, for by my mother I derived am from Lionel, Duke of Clarence, the third son to King Edward III, whereas he from John of Gaunt doth bring his pedigree, being but fourth of that heroic line. But mark, as in this haughty attempt they laboured to plant the rightful heir, I lost my liberty, and they their lives. Long after this, when Henry V, succeeding his father Bolingbroke, did reign, thy father, Earl of Cambridge, then derived from famous Edmund Langley, Duke of York, marrying my sister, that thy mother was, again, in pity of my hard distress, levied an army, weening to redeem and have installed me in the diadem. But, as the rest, so fell that noble earl, and was beheaded. Thus the Mortimers, in whom the tide rested, were suppressed.
Of which, my lord, your honour is the last.
True. And thou seest that I no issue have, and that my fainting words do warrant death. Thou art my heir, the rest I wish thee gather. But yet be wary in thy studious care.
Thy grave admonishments prevail with me, but yet methinks my father's execution was nothing less than bloody tyranny.
With silence, nephew, be thou politic. Strong fixed is the house of Lancaster, and like a mountain, not to be removed. But now thy uncle is removing hence, as princes do their courts when they are cloyed with long continuance in a settled place.
O uncle, would some part of my young years might but redeem the passage of your age!
Thou dost then wrong me, as that slaughterer doth, which giveth many wounds when one will kill. Mourn not, except thou sorrow for my good, only give order for my funeral. And so farewell, and fair be all thy hopes, and prosperous be thy life in peace and war.
Dies.
And peace, no war, befall thy parting soul. In prison hast thou spent a pilgrimage, and like a hermit overpast thy days. Well, I will lock his counsel in my breast, and what I do imagine let that rest. Keepers, convey him hence, and I myself will see his burial better than his life.
Exeunt jailers, bearing out the body of Mortimer.
Here dies the dusky torch of Mortimer, choked with ambition of the meaner sort, and for those wrongs, those bitter injuries, which Somerset hath offered to my house, I doubt not but with honour to redress. And therefore haste I to the Parliament, either to be restored to my blood, or make my ill the advantage of my good.
Exit. End of Act 2. Act 3 of Henry VI, Part 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1, London. The Parliament House. Flourish. Enter King Henry VI, Exeter, Gloucester, Warwick, Somerset, and Suffolk, the Bishop of Winchester, Richard Plantagenet, and others. Gloucester offers to put up a bill. Bishop of Winchester snatches it and tears it.
Comest thou with deep premeditated lines, with written pamphlets studiously devised, Humphrey of Gloucester? If thou canst accuse, or aught intendest to lay unto my charge, do it without invention, suddenly, as I with sudden and extemporal speech purpose to answer what thou canst object.
Presumptuous priest, this place commands my patience, or thou shouldst find thou hast dishonoured me. Think not, although in writing I preferred the manner of thy vile outrageous crimes, that therefore I have forged or am not able verbatim to rehearse the method of my pen. No, prelate, such is thy audacious wickedness, thy lewd, pestiferous, and dissentious pranks, as very infants prattle of thy pride. Thou art a most pernicious usurer, forward by nature enemy to peace, lascivious, wanton, more than well beseems a man of thy profession and degree, and for thy treachery, what's more manifest, in that thou laidst a trap to take my life, as well at London Bridge as at the Tower. Beside, I fear me, if thy thoughts were sifted, The king, thy sovereign, is not quite exempt from envious malice of thy swelling heart.
Gloucester, I do defy thee. Lords, vouchsafe to give me hearing what I shall reply. If I were covetous, ambitious, or perverse, as he will have me, how am I so poor? And how haps it I seek not to advance or raise myself, but keep my wonted calling? And for dissension, who preferreth peace more than I do, except I be provoked? No, my good lords, it is not that offends, it is not that hath incensed the Duke. It is because no one should sway but he. No one but he should be about the king, and that engenders thunder in his breast, and makes him roar these accusations forth. But he shall know I am as good.
As good, thou bastard of my grandfather!
Ay, lordly sir, for what are you, I pray, but one imperious in another's throne?
Am I not protector, saucy priest?
And am not I a prelate of the church?
Yes, as an outlaw in a castle keeps and useth it to patronage his theft.
Unreverent Gloucester!
Thou art reverent, touching thy spiritual function, not thy life.
Rome shall remedy this.
Rome thither, then.
My lord, it were your duty to forbear.
Ay, see the bishop be not overborne.
Methinks my lord should be religious, and know the office that belongs to such.
Methinks his lordship should be humbler. It fitteth not a prelate so to plead.
Yes, when his holy state is touched so near.
State holy or unhallowed, what of that? Is not his grace protector to the king?
Aside.
Plantagenet, I see, must hold his tongue, lest it be said, "Speak, sirrah, when you should. Must your bold verdict enter talk with lords? Else would I have a fling at Winchester."
Uncles of Gloucester and of Winchester, the special watchmen of our English weal, I would prevail, if prayers might prevail, to join your hearts in love and amity. Oh, what a scandal is it to our crown, that two such noble peers as ye should jar! Believe me, lords, my tender years can tell civil dissension is a viperous worm that gnaws the bowels of the commonwealth.
A noise within. Down with the tawny coats.
What tumult's this?
An uproar, I dare warrant, begun through malice of the bishop's men.
A noise again. Stones! Stones! Enter Mayor.
O my good lords, and virtuous Henry, pity the city of London, pity us. The Bishop and the Duke of Gloucester's men, forbidden late to carry any weapon, have filled their pockets full of pebble stones, and banding themselves in contrary parts, do pelt so fast at one another's pate, that many have their giddy brains knocked out. Our windows are broke down in every street, and we for fear compelled to shut our shops.
Enter serving men in skirmish with bloody pates.
We charge you, on allegiance to ourself, to hold your slaughtering hands and keep the peace. Pray, Uncle Gloucester, mitigate this strife.
Nay, if we be forbidden stones, we'll fall to it with our teeth.
Do what ye dare. We are as resolute.
Skirmish again.
You of my household leave this peevish broil, and set this unaccustomed fight aside.
My lord, we know your grace to be a man just and upright, and for your royal birth inferior to none but to his majesty. And ere that we will suffer such a prince, so kind a father of the commonweal, to be disgraced by an inkhorn mate, we and our wives and children all will fight, and have our bodies slaughtered by thy foes.
Ay, and the very parings of our nails shall pitch a field when we are dead.
Begin again.
Stay, stay, I say, and if you love me, as you say you do, let me persuade you to forbear a while.
Oh, how this discord doth afflict my soul! Can you, my lord of Winchester, behold my sighs and tears, and will not once relent? Who should be pitiful if you be not? Or who should study to prefer a peace if holy churchmen take delight in broils?
Yield, my lord protector, yield, Winchester, except you mean with obstinate repulse to slay your sovereign and destroy the realm. You see what mischief, and what murder too, hath been enacted through your enmity. Then be at peace, except ye thirst for blood.
He shall submit, or I will never yield.
Compassion on the king commands me stoop, or I would see his heart out ere the priest should ever get that privilege of me.
Behold, my lord of Winchester, The Duke hath banished moody discontented fury, as by his smooth brows it doth appear. Why look you still so stern and tragical?
Here, Winchester, I offer thee my hand.
Fie, Uncle Beaufort! I have heard you preach that malice was a great and grievous sin. And will you not maintain the thing you teach, but prove a chief offender in the same?
Sweet king, the bishop hath a kindly gird. For shame, my lord of Winchester, relent! What, shall a child instruct you what to do?
Well, Duke of Gloucester, I will yield to thee. Love for thy love, and hand for hand I give.
Aside.
Ay, but I fear me with a hollow heart. See here, my friends and loving countrymen. This token serveth for a flag of truce betwixt ourselves and all our followers. So help me God, as I dissemble not.
Aside.
So help me God, as I intend it not.
O loving uncle, kind Duke of Gloucester, how joyful am I made by this contract! Away, my masters, trouble us no more, but join in friendship as your lords have done.
Content. I'll to the surgeons.
And so will I.
And I will see what physic the tavern affords.
Exeunt, serving men, mayor, etc.
Accept this scroll, most gracious sovereign, which in the right of Richard Plantagenet we do exhibit to your majesty.
Well urged, my lord of Warwick, or sweet prince, and if your grace mark every circumstance, you have great reason to do Richard right, especially for those occasions at Eltham Place I told your majesty.
And those occasions, uncle, were of force. Therefore, my loving lords, our pleasure is that Richard be restored to his blood.
Let Richard be restored to his blood, so shall his father's wrongs be recompensed.
As will the rest, so willeth Winchester.
If Richard will be true, not that alone, but all the whole inheritance I give that doth belong unto the house of York, from whence you spring by lineal descent.
Thy humble servant vows obedience and humble service till the point of death.
Stoop then, and set your knee against my foot, and in reguerdon of that duty done, I gird thee with the valiant sword of York. Rise, Richard, like a true Plantagenet, and rise created princely Duke of York.
And so thrive, Richard, as thy foes may fall, and as my duty springs, so perish they that grudge one thought against your majesty.
Welcome, High Prince, the mighty Duke of York.
Aside.
Perish, base prince, ignoble Duke of York.
Now will it best avail your majesty to cross the seas, and to be crowned in France. The presence of a king engenders love amongst his subjects and his loyal friends, as it disanimates his enemies.
When Gloucester says the word, King Henry goes, for friendly counsel cuts off many foes.
Your ships already are in readiness.
Senate, flourish, exeunt all but Exeter.
Aye, we may march in England or in France, not seeing what is likely to ensue. This late dissension, grown betwixt the peers, burns under faint ashes of forged love, and will at last break out into a flame. As festered members rot, but by degree, till bones and flesh and sinews fall away, so will this base and envious discord breed. And now I fear that fatal prophecy which in the time of Henry named the Fifth was in the mouth of every sucking babe, that Henry born at Monmouth should win all, and Henry born at Windsor lose all, which is so plain that Exeter doth wish his days may finish ere that hapless time.
Exit. Scene 2, France. Before Rouen. Enter Joan La Pucelle, disguised, with 4 soldiers with sacks upon their backs.
These are the city gates, the gates of Rouen, through which our policy must make a breach. Take heed, be wary how you place your words. Talk like the vulgar sort of market men that come to gather money for their corn. If we have entrance, as I hope we shall, and that we find the slothful watch but weak, I'll by a sign give notice to our friends, that Charles the Dauphin may encounter them.
Our sacks shall be a mean to sack the city, and we be lords and rulers over Rouen, therefore we'll knock.
Knocks. Within.
Qui est là?
Paysans, pauvres gens de France. Poor market folks that come to sell their corn.
Enter, go in. The market bell is rung.
Now, Rouen, I'll shake thy bulwarks to the ground.
Exeunt. Enter Charles, the Bastard of Orleans, Alençon, Rainier, and forces.
Saint-Denis bless this happy stratagem, and once again we'll sleep secure in Rouen.
Here entered Pucelle under Practison. Now she is there. How will she specify where is the best and safest passage in?
By thrusting out a torch from yonder tower, which once discerned shows that her meaning is no way to that for weakness which she entered.
Enter Joan La Pucelle on the top, thrusting out a torch burning.
Behold, this is the happy wedding torch that joineth Rouen unto her countrymen, but burning fatal to the Talbotites.
Exit.
See, noble Charles, the beacon of our friend. The burning torch in yonder turret stands.
Now shine it like a comet of revenge, a prophet to the fall of all our foes.
Defer no time, delays have dangerous ends. Enter and cry, the Dauphin presently, and then do execution on the watch.
Alarum. Exeunt. An alarum. Enter Talbot in an excursion.
France, thou shalt rue this treason with thy tears, if Talbot but survive thy treachery. Pucelle, that witch, that damned sorceress, hath wrought this hellish mischief unawares, that hardly we escape the pride of France.
Exit. An alarum. Excursions. Bedford brought in sick in a chair. Enter Talbot and Burgundy without. Within, Joan La Pucelle, Charles, Bastard of Orleans, Alençon, and Rainier on the walls.
Good morrow, gallants. Want ye come for bread? I think the Duke of Burgundy will fast before he'll buy again at such a rate. 'Twas full of darnel. Do you like the taste?
Scoff on, vile fiend, and shameless courtesan. I trust ere long to choke thee with thine own, and make thee curse the harvest of that corn.
Your grace may starve perhaps before that time.
Oh, let no words but deeds revenge this treason.
What will you do, good greybeard? Break a lance and run a tilt at death within a chair?
Thou fiend of France, and hag of all despite, encompassed with thy lustful paramours, becomes it thee to taunt his valiant age, and twit with cowardice a man half dead? Damsel, I'll have a bout with thee again, or else let Talbot perish with the shame.
Are you so hot, sir? Yet, Pucelle, hold thy peace. If Talbot do but thunder, rain will follow.
The English whisper together in council.
God speed the Parliament. Who shall be the speaker?
Dare he come forth and meet us in the field?
Belike your lordship takes us then for fools, to try if that our own be ours or no.
I speak not to that railing Hecate, but unto thee, Alençon, and the rest. Will ye, like soldiers, come and fight it out?
Signor, no.
Signor, hang base muleteers of France. Like peasant footboys do they keep the walls, and dare not take up arms like gentlemen.
Away, captains! Let's get us from the walls, for Talbot means no goodness by his looks. God be with you, my lord. We came but to tell you that we are here.
Exeunt from the walls.
And there will we be too, ere it be long, or else reproach be Talbot's greatest fame. Thou, Burgundy, by honour of thou house, pricked on by public wrong sustained in France, either to get the town again, or die. And I, as sure as English Henry lives, and as his father here was conqueror, as sure as in this late betrayed town great Coeur de Lion's heart was buried, so sure I swear to get the town, or die.
My vows are equal partners with thy vows.
But ere we go, regard this dying prince, the valiant Duke of Bedford. Come, my lord, we will bestow in some better place, fit for sickness and for crazy age.
Lord Talbot, do not so dishonour me. Here will I sit before the walls of Rouen, and will be partner of your weal or woe.
Courageous Bedford, let us now persuade you.
Not to be gone from hence. For once I read that stout Pendragon and his litter sick came to the field and vanquished his foes. Methinks I should revive the soldiers' hearts, because I ever found them as myself.
Undaunted spirit in a dying breast, then be it so. Heavens keep old Bedford safe. And now, no more ado, brave Burgundy, but gather we our forces out of hand, and set upon our boasting enemy.
Exeunt all but Bedford and attendants, and alarum, excursions. Enter Fastolfe, and a captain.
Whither away, Sir John Fastolfe, in such haste?
Whither away to save myself by flight? We are like to have the overthrow again.
What? Will you fly and leave, Lord Talbot?
Ay, all the Talbots in the world, to save my life.
Exit.
Cowardly knight, ill fortune follow thee.
Exit. Retreat, excursions. Joan La Pucelle, Alencon, and Charles fly.
Now, quiet soul, depart when heaven please, for I have seen our enemies' overthrow. What is the trust or strength of foolish man? They that of late were daring with their scoffs are glad and fain by flight to save themselves.
Bedford dies and is carried in by two in his chair. An alarum. Re-enter Talbot, Burgundy, and the rest.
Lost and recovered in a day again. This is a double honour, Burgundy, yet heavens have glory for this victory.
Warlike and martial Talbot, Burgundy enshrines thee in his heart, and there erects thy noble deeds as valor's monuments.
Thanks, gentle Duke. But where is Pucelle now? I think her old familiar is asleep. Now, where's the bastard's braves, and Charles his gleeks? What, all amour? Rouen hangs her head for grief that such a valiant company are fled. Now will we take some order in the town, placing therein some expert officers, and then depart to Paris to the king, for there young Henry with his nobles lie.
What wills Lord Talbot pleaseth Burgundy.
But yet, before we go, let's not forget the noble Duke of Bedford late deceased, but see his exequies fulfilled in Rouen. A braver soldier never couched lance, a gentler heart did never sway in court, but kings and mightiest potentates must die, for that's the end of human misery.
Exeunt. Scene 3. The plains near Rouen. Enter Charles, the bastard of Orleans, Alencon, Joan La Pucelle, and forces.
Dismay not, princess, at this accident, nor grieve that Rouen is so recovered. Care is no cure, but rather corrosive, for things that are not to be remedied. Let frantic Talbot triumph for a while, and like a peacock sweep along his tail. We'll pull his plumes and take away his train, if Dauphin and the rest will be but ruled.
We have been guided by thee hitherto, and of thy cunning had no diffidence. One sudden foil shall never breed distrust.
Search out thy wit for secret policies, and we will make thee famous through the world.
We'll set thy statue in some holy place, and have thee reverenced like a blessed saint. Employ thee then, sweet virgin, for our good.
Then, thus it must be. This doth Joan devise. By fair persuasions mixed with sugared words, we will entice the Duke of Burgundy to leave the Talbot and to follow us.
Ay, marry, sweeting, if we could do that, France were no place for Henry's warriors. Nor should that nation boast it so with us, but be extirped from our provinces.
For ever should they be expulsed from France, and not have title of an earldom here.
Your honours shall perceive how I will work to bring this matter to the wished end.
Drum sounds afar off.
Hark! By the sound of drum you may perceive their powers are marching unto Paris ward.
Here sound an English march. Enter and pass over at a distance Talbot and his forces.
There goes the Talbot with his colours spread, and all the troops of English after him.
French march. Enter Burgundy and forces.
Now in the rear ward comes the Duke and his. Fortune in favour makes him lag behind. Summon a parley, we will talk with him.
Trumpets sound a parley.
A parley with the Duke of Burgundy.
Who craves a parley with the Burgundy?
The princely Charles of France, thy countryman.
What sayest thou, Charles? For I am marching hence.
Speak, Pucelle, and enchant him with thy words.
Brave Burgundy, undoubted hope of France. Stay, let thy humble handmaid speak to thee.
Speak on, but be not over tedious.
Look on thy country, look on fertile France, and see the cities and the towns defaced by wasting ruin of the cruel foe. As looks the mother on her lovely babe, when death doth close his tender dying eyes. See, see the pining malady of France. Behold the wounds, the most unnatural wounds, which thou thyself hast given her woeful breast. Oh, turn thy edged sword another way. Strike those that hurt, and hurt not those that help. One drop of blood, drawn from thy country's bosom, should grieve thee more than streams of foreign gore. Return thee, therefore, with a flood of tears, and wash away thy country's stained spots.
Either she hath bewitched me with her words, or nature makes me suddenly relent.
Besides, all French and France exclaims on thee, doubting thy birth and lawful progeny. Who jointest thou with but with a lordly nation, that will not trust thee but for profit's sake? When Talbot hath set footing once in France, and fashioned thee that instrument of ill, who then but English Henry will be lord, and thou be thrust out like a fugitive? Call we to mind, and mark but this for proof. Was not the Duke of Orleans thy foe? And was he not in England prisoner? But when they heard he was thine enemy, they set him free without his ransom paid, in spite of Burgundy and all his friends. See then, thou fightest against thy countrymen, and joinst us with them will be thy slaughtermen. Come, come, return, return, thou wandering lord. Charles and the rest will take thee in their arms.
I am vanquished. These haughty words of hers have butted me like roaring cannon shot, and made me almost yield upon my knees. Forgive me, country, and sweet countrymen, and lords. Accept this hearty kind embrace. My forces and my power of men are yours. So farewell, Talbot. I'll no longer trust thee.
Aside.
Done like a Frenchman. Turn, and turn again.
Welcome, brave Duke. Thy friendship makes us fresh.
And doth beget new courage in our breasts.
Pucelle hath bravely played her part in this, and doth deserve a coronet of gold.
Now let us on, my lords, and join our powers, and seek how we may prejudice the foe.
Exeunt. Scene 4. Paris, the palace. Enter King Henry VI, Gloucester, Bishop of Winchester, York, Suffolk, Somerset, Warwick, Exeter, Vernon, Basset, and others. To them, with his soldiers, Talbot.
My gracious prince and honourable peers, hearing of your arrival in this realm, I have a while given truce unto my wars, to do my duty to my sovereign, in sign whereof this arm that hath reclaimed your obedience 50 fortresses, 12 cities, and 7 walled towns of strength, beside 500 prisoners of esteem, lets fall his sword before your highness' feet, and with submissive loyalty of heart ascribes the glory of his conquest got, first to my God, and next unto your grace.
Kneels.
Is this the Lord Talbot, Uncle Gloucester, that hath so long been resident in France?
Yes, if it please your majesty, my liege.
Welcome, brave captain and victorious lord. When I was young, as yet I am not old, I do remember how my father said a stouter champion never handled sword. Long since we were resolved of your truth, your faithful service and your toil in war. Yet never have you tasted our reward, or been reguerdoned with so much as thanks, because till now we never saw your face. Therefore stand up, and for these good deserts we here create you Earl of Shrewsbury, and in our coronation take your place.
Senate. Flourish. Exeunt all but Vernon and Basset.
Now, sir, to you, that were so hot at sea, disgracing of these colours that I wear in honour of my noble Lord of York. Darest thou maintain the former words thou spakest?
Yes, sir, as well as you dare patronage the envious barking of your saucy tongue against my lord the Duke of Somerset.
Sirrah, thy lord I honour as he is.
Why, what is he? As good a man as York.
Harkee, not so. In witness, take ye that.
Strikes him.
Villain, thou knowest the law of arms is such that whoso draws a sword 'tis present death, or else this blow should broach thy dearest blood. But I'll under his majesty, and crave I may have liberty to venge this wrong. When thou shalt see, I'll meet thee to thy cost.
Well, miscreant, I'll be there as soon as you, and after meet you sooner than you would.
Exeunt. End of Act 3. Act 4 of Henry VI, Part 1, by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4, Scene 1. Paris. A Hall of State. Enter King Henry VI, Gloucester, Bishop of Winchester, York, Suffolk, Somerset, Warwick, Talbot, Exeter, the Governor of Paris, and others.
Lord Bishop set the crown upon his head.
God save King Henry, of that name the sixth.
Now, Governor of Paris, take your oath that you elect no other king but him, esteem none friends, but such that are his friends, and none your foes, but such as shall pretend malicious practices against his state. This shall ye do, so help you, righteous God.
Enter Fastolfe.
My gracious sovereign, as I rode from Calais to haste unto your coronation, a letter was delivered to my hands, writ to your grace from the Duke of Burgundy.
Shame to the Duke of Burgundy and thee! I vowed, base knight, when I did meet thee next, to tear the garter from thy craven's leg.
Plucking it off.
Which I have done, because unworthily thou wast installed in that high degree. Pardon me, princely Henry, and the rest, this dastard at the battle of Patay, when but in all I was 6,000 strong, and that the French were almost 10 to 1, before we met, or that a stroke was given, like to a trusty squire, did run away, in which assault we lost 1,200 men. Myself and divers gentlemen beside were there surprised and taken prisoners. Then judge, great lords, if I have done amiss, or whether that such cowards ought to wear this ornament of knighthood, ye or no.
To say the truth, this fact was infamous, and ill beseeming any common man, much more a knight, a captain, and a leader.
When first this order was ordained, my lords, Knights of the Garter were of noble birth, valiant and virtuous, full of haughty courage, such as were grown to credit by the wars, not fearing death, nor shrinking for distress, but always resolute in most extremes. He, then, that is not furnished in this sort, doth but usurp the sacred name of knight, profaning this most honourable order, and should, if I were worthy to be judge, be quite degraded, like a hedge-born swain that doth presume to boast of gentle blood.
Stain to thy countrymen, thou hear'st thy doom. Be packing, therefore, thou that wast a knight. Henceforth we banish thee on pain of death.
Exit Fastolfe.
And now, my Lord Protector, view the letter sent from our uncle Duke of Burgundy.
What means his grace that he hath changed his style? No more, but plain and bluntly. To the king, hath he forgot he is his sovereign? Or doth this churlish superscription pretend some alteration in good will? What's here?
Reads.
I have upon a special cause, moved with compassion of my country's wreck, together with the pitiful complaints of such as your oppression feeds upon, forsaken your pernicious faction, and joined with Charles, the rightful King of France? Oh, monstrous treachery, can this be so, that in alliance, amities, and oath there should be found such false dissembling guile?
What? Doth my uncle Burgundy revolt?
He doth, my lord, and has become your foe.
Is that the worst this letter doth contain?
It is the worst, and all, my lord, he writes.
Why then, Lord Talbot there shall talk with him, and give him chastisement for this abuse. How say you, my lord? Are you not content?
Content, my liege. Yes, but that I am prevented, I should have begged I might have been employed.
Then gather strength, and march unto him straight. Let him perceive how ill we brook his treason, and what offence it is to flout his friends.
I go, my lord, in heart desiring still you may behold confusion of your foes.
Exit. Enter Vernon and Basset.
Grant me the combat, gracious sovereign.
And me, my lord, grant me the combat too.
This is my servant, hear him, noble prince.
And this is mine, sweet Henry, favour him.
Be patient, lords, and give them leave to speak. Say, gentlemen, what makes you thus exclaim? And wherefore crave you combat, or with whom?
With him, my lord, for he hath done me wrong.
And I with him, for he hath done me wrong.
What is that wrong whereof you both complain? First let me know, and then I'll answer you.
Crossing the sea from England into France, this fellow here, with envious carping tongue, upbraided me about the rose I wear, saying the sanguine colour of the leaves did represent my master's blushing cheeks, when stubbornly he did repugn the truth about a certain question in the law argued betwixt the Duke of York and him, with other vile and ignominious terms, in confutation of which rude reproach, and in defence of my lord's worthiness, I crave the benefit of law of arms.
And that is my petition, noble lord. For though he seemed with forged quaint conceit to set a gloss upon his bold intent, yet know, my lord, I was provoked by him, and he first took exceptions at this badge, pronouncing that the paleness of this flower bewrayed the faintness of my master's heart.
Will not this malice, Somerset, be left?
Your private grudge, my lord of York, will out, though ne'er so cunningly you smother it.
Good lord, what madness rules in brain-sick men, when for so slight and frivolous a cause such factious emulations shall arise? Good cousins both of York and Somerset, quiet yourselves, I pray, and be at peace.
Let this dissension first be tried by fight, and then your highness shall command a peace.
The quarrel toucheth none but us alone. Betwixt ourselves let us decide it then.
There is my pledge. Accept it, Somerset.
Nay, let it rest where it began at first.
Confirm it so, mine honourable lord.
Confirm it so? Confounded be your strife, and perish ye with your audacious trape. Presumptuous vassals, are you not ashamed, with this immodest clamorous outrage, to trouble and disturb the king and us? And you, my lords, methinks you do not well to bear with their perverse objections, much less to take occasion from their mouths to raise a mutiny betwixt yourselves. Let me persuade you, take a better course.
It grieves his highness. Good, my lords, be friends.
Come hither, you that would be combatants. Henceforth I charge you, as you love our favour, quite to forget this quarrel and the cause. And you, my lords, remember where we are, in France, amongst a fickle, wavering nation. If they perceive dissension in our looks, and that within ourselves we disagree, how will their grudging stomachs be provoked to wilful disobedience and rebel? Besides, what infamy will there arise when foreign princes shall be certified that for a toy, a thing of no regard, King Henry's peers and chief nobility destroyed themselves and lost the realm of France? O think upon the conquest of my father, my tender years, and let us not forgo that for a trifle that was bought with blood. Let me be umpire in this doubtful strife. I see no reason, if I wear this rose,
putting on a red rose,
that anyone should therefore be suspicious I more incline to Somerset than York. Both are my kinsmen, and I love them both. As well they may upbraid me with my crown, because forsooth the King of Scots is crowned. but your discretions better can persuade than I am able to instruct or teach. And therefore, as we hither came in peace, so let us still continue peace and love. Cousin of York, we institute your grace to be our regent in these parts of France, and, good my lord of Somerset, unite your troops of horsemen with his bands of foot, and like true subjects, sons of your progenitors, go cheerfully together and digest your angry choler on your enemies. Ourself, my lord protector and the rest, after some respite will return to Calais, from thence to England, where I hope ere long to be presented by your victories, with Charles, Alencon, and that traitorous rout.
Flourish. Exeunt all but York, Warwick, Exeter, and Vernon.
My lord of York, I promise you the king prettily, methought, did play the orator.
And so he did, but yet I like it not, in that he wears the badge of Somerset.
Tush, that was but his fancy. Blame him not. I dare presume, sweet prince, he thought no harm.
And if I wist he did, but let it rest. Other affairs must now be managed.
Exeunt all but Exeter.
Well didst thou, Richard, to suppress thy voice, for had the passions of thy heart burst out, I fear we should have seen deciphered there more rancorous spite, more furious raging broils than yet can be imagined or supposed. But howsoe'er, no simple man that sees this jarring discord of nobility, this shouldering of each other in the court, this factious bandying of their favourites, but that it doth presage some ill event. 'Tis much when sceptres are in children's hands, but more when envy breeds unkind division. There comes the rain, there begins confusion.
Exit. Scene 2. Before Bordeaux. Enter Talbot, with trump and drum.
Go to the house of Bordeaux, trumpeter. Summon their general unto the wall.
Trumpet sounds. Enter General and others, aloft.
English John Talbot, captains, calls you forth, servant in arms to Harry, King of England. And thus he would, open your city gates, be humble to us, call my sovereign yours, and do him homage as obedient subjects, and I'll withdraw me and my bloody power. But if you frown upon this proffered peace, you tempt the fury of my 3 attendants, lean famine, quartering steel, and climbing fire, who in a moment, even with the earth, shall lay your stately and air-braving toes, if you forsake the offer of their love.
Thou ominous and fearful owl of death, our nation's terror and their bloody scourge, the period of thy tyranny approacheth. On us thou canst not enter but by death. For, I protest, we are well fortified, and strong enough to issue out and fight. If thou retire, the Dauphin well appointed stands with the snares of war to tangle thee. On either hand thee there are squadrons pitched, to wall thee from the liberty of flight. And no way canst thou turn thee for redress, but death doth front thee with apparent spoil, and pale destruction meets thee in the face. 10,000 French have ta'en the sacrament to rive their dangerous artillery upon no Christian soul but English Talbot. Lo, there thou stand'st, a breathing valiant man, of an invincible unconquered spirit. This is the latest glory of thy praise, that I, thy enemy, due thee withal. For ere the glass that now begins to run finish the process of his sandy hour, these eyes that see thee now well coloured shall see thee withered, bloody, pale, and dead.
Drum afar off.
Hark, hark, the Dauphin's drum, a warning bell, sings heavy music to thy timorous soul, and mine shall ring thy dire departure out.
Exeunt General, etc.
He fables not. I hear the enemy. Out, some light horsemen, and peruse their wings. Oh, negligent and heedless discipline! How are we packed and bounded in a pale, a little herd of England's timorous deer, mazed with a yelping kill of French curs! If we be English deer, be then in blood, not rascal-like to fall down with a pinch, but rather moody mad and desperate stags, turn on the bloody hounds with heads of steel, and make the cowards stand aloof at bay. Sell every man his life as dear as mine, and they shall find dear, dear of us, my friends. God and St. George, Talbot and England's right, prosper our colours in this dangerous fight.
Exeunt. Scene 3. Plains in Gascony. Enter a messenger that meets York. Enter York with trumpet and many soldiers.
Are not the speedy scouts returned again, that dogged the mighty army of the Dauphin?
They are returned, my lord, and give it out that he is marched to Bordeaux with his power, to fight with Talbot. As he marched along, by your espials were discovered 2 mightier troops than that the Dauphin led, which joined with him and made their march for Bordeaux.
Plague upon that villain Somerset, that thus delays my promised supply of horsemen that were levied for this siege. Renowned Talbot doth expect my aid, and I am louted by a traitor villain, and cannot help the noble chevalier. God comfort him in this necessity. If he miscarry, farewell wars in France.
Enter Sir William Lucy.
Thou princely leader of our English strength, never so needful on the earth of France, spur to the rescue of the noble Talbot, who now is girdled with a waist of iron and hemmed about with grim destruction. To Bordeaux, warlike Duke, to Bordeaux, York, else farewell Talbot, France, and England's honour.
Oh God, that Somerset, who in proud heart doth stop my cornets, were in Talbot's place, so should we save a valiant gentleman by forfeiting a traitor and a coward. Mad ire and wrathful fury makes me weep, that thus we die while remiss traitors sleep.
Oh, send some succour to the distressed lord.
He dies, we lose. I break my warlike word. We mourn, France smiles. We lose, they daily get. All long of this vile traitor Somerset.
Then God take mercy on brave Talbot's soul, and on his son young John, who 2 hours since I met in travel toward his warlike father. This 7 years did not Talbot see his son, and now they meet where both their lives are done.
Alas, what joy shall noble Talbot have to bid his young son welcome to the grave! Away, vexation almost stops my breath, that sundered friends greet in the hour of death. Lucy, farewell, no more my fortune can, but curse the cause I cannot aid the man. Maine, Blois, Poictiers, and Tours are won away, long all of Somerset and his delay.
Exit, with his soldiers.
Thus, while the vulture of sedition feeds in the bosom of such great commanders, sleeping neglection doth betray to loss the conquest of our scarce cold conqueror, that ever-living man of memory, Henry V, whiles they each other cross, lives, honours, lands, and all hurry to loss.
Exit. Scene 4. Other plains in Gascony. Enter Somerset with his army, a captain of Talbot's with him.
It is too late. I cannot send them now. This expedition was by York and Talbot too rashly plotted. All our general force might with a sally of the very town be buckled with. The overdaring Talbot hath sullied all his gloss of former honour by this unheedful, desperate, wild adventure. York set him on to fight and die in shame. That Talbot dead, great York might bear the name.
Here is Sir William Lucy, who with me set from our o'ermatched forces forth for aid.
Enter Sir William Lucy.
How now, Sir William, whither were you sent?
Whither, my lord? From bought and sold Lord Talbot, who ringed about with bold adversity, cries out for noble York and Somerset to beat assailing death from his weak legions. And whiles the honourable captain there drops bloody sweat from his war-wearied limbs, and in advantage lingering looks for rescue, you, his false hopes, the trust of England's honour, keep off aloof with worthless emulation. Let not your private discord keep away the levied succours that should lend him aid, while he, renowned noble gentleman, yields up his life unto a world of odds. Orleans the bastard, Charles, Burgundy, Alencon, Rainier compass him about, and Talbot perisheth by your default.
York set him on, York should have sent him aid.
And York as fast upon your grace exclaims, swearing that you withhold his levied host collected for this expedition.
York lies. He might have sent and had the horse. I owe him little duty and less love, and take foul scorn to fawn on him by sending.
The fraud of England, not the force of France, hath now entrapped the noble-minded Talbot. Never to England shall he bear his life, but dies betrayed to fortune by your strife.
Come, go. I will dispatch the horsemen straight. Within 6 hours they will be at his aid.
Too late comes rescue. He is ta'en or slain, for fly he could not, if he would have fled, and fly would Talbot never, though he might.
If he be dead, brave Talbot, then adieu.
His fame lives in the world, his shame in you.
Exeunt. Scene 5. The English camp near Bordeaux. Enter Talbot and John his son.
O young John Talbot, I did send for thee, to tutor thee in stratagems of war, that Talbot's name might be in thee revived, when sapless age and weak unstable limbs should bring thy father to his drooping chair. But, O malignant and ill-boding stars, now thou art come unto a feast of death, a terrible and unavoided danger. Therefore, dear boy, mount on my swiftest horse, and I'll direct thee how thou shalt escape by sudden flight. Come, dally not, be gone.
Is my name Talbot? And am I your son? And shall I fly? Oh, if you love my mother, dishonour not her honourable name, to make a bastard and a slave of me. The world will say, he is not Talbot's blood, that basely fled when noble Talbot stood.
Fly, to revenge my death, if I be slain.
He that flies so will ne'er return again.
If we both stay, we both are sure to die.
Then let me stay, and father, do you fly. Your loss is great, so your regard should be. My worth unknown, no loss is known in me. Upon my death the French can little boast, in yours they will, in you all hopes are lost. Flight cannot stain the honour you have won, but mine it will, that no exploit have done. You fled for vantage, every one will swear, but if I bow, they'll say it was for fear. There is no hope that ever I will stay. If the first hour I shrink and run away, here on my knee I beg mortality, rather than life preserved with infamy.
Shall all thy mother's hopes lie in one tomb?
Ay, rather than I'll shame my mother's womb.
Upon my blessing, I command thee, go.
To fight I will, but not to fly the foe.
Part of thy father may be saved in thee.
No part of him, but will be shame in me.
Thou never hadst renown, nor canst not lose it.
Yes, your renowned name. Shall flight abuse it?
Thy father's charge shall clear thee from that stain.
You cannot witness for me, being slain. If death be so apparent, then both fly.
And leave my followers here to fight and die? My age was never tainted with such shame.
And shall my youth be guilty of such blame? No more can I be severed from your side, than can yourself in twain divide. Stay, go, do what you will, the like do I. For live I will not, if my father die.
Then here I take my leave of thee, fair son, born to eclipse thy life this afternoon. Come, side by side together live and die, and soul with soul from France to heaven fly.
Exeunt. Scene 6. A field of battle. Alarum. Excursions, wherein John Talbot is hemmed about, and Talbot rescues him.
St. George and victory! Fight, soldiers, fight! The regent hath with Talbot broke his word, and left us to the rage of France his sword. Where is John Talbot? Pause, and take thy breath. I gave thee life, and rescued thee from death.
Oh, twice my father, twice am I thy son. The life thou gavest me first was lost and done, till with thy warlike sword, despite of late, to my determined time thou gavest new date.
When from the Dauphin's crest thy sword struck fire, it warmed thy father's heart with proud desire of bold-faced victory. Then leaden age, quickened with youthful spleen and warlike rage, beat down Alençon, Orleans, Burgundy, and from the pride of Gallia rescued thee. The ireful bastard Orleans, that drew blood from thee, my boy, and had the maidenhood of thy first fight, I soon encountered, and interchanging blows I quickly shed some of his bastard blood, and in disgrace bespoke him thus: Contaminated, base, and misbegotten blood I spill of thine, mean and right poor, for that pure blood of mine which thou didst force from Talbot, my brave boy. Here, purposing the bastard to destroy, came in strong rescue. Speak, thy father's care. Art thou not weary, John? How dost thou fare? Wilt thou yet leave the battle, boy, and fly, now thou art sealed the son of chivalry? Fly, to revenge my death when I am dead. The help of one stands me in little stead. Oh, too much folly is it, well I wot, to hazard all our lives in one small boat. If I today die not with Frenchmen's rage, tomorrow I shall die with mickle age. By me they nothing gain, and if I stay, 'tis but the shortening of my life one day. In thee thy mother dies, our household's name, my death revenge, thy youth, and England's fame. All these and more we hazard by thy stay, all these are saved if thou wilt fly away.
The sword of Orleans hath not made me smart. These words of yours draw life-blood from my heart. On that advantage, bought with such a shame, to save a paltry life and slay bright fame, before young Talbot from old Talbot fly, the coward horse that bears me, fail and die. And like me to the peasant boys of France, to be shame's scorn and subject of mischance. Surely, by all the glory you have won, and if I fly, I am not Talbot's son. Then talk no more of flight, it is no boot, if son to Talbot, die at Talbot's foot.
Then follow thou thy desperate sire of Crete, thou Icarus, thy life to me is sweet. If thou wilt fight, fight by thy father's side, and, commendable proved, let's die in pride.
Exeunt. Scene 7. Another part of the field. Alarum. Excursions. Enter Talbot, led by a servant.
Where is my other life? Mine own is gone. Oh, where's young Talbot? Where is valiant John? Triumphant death, smeared with captivity, young Talbot's valour makes me smile at thee. When he perceived me shrinking on my knee, his bloody sword he brandished over me, and like a hungry lion did commence rough deeds of rage and stern impatience. But when my hungry garden stood alone, tendering my ruin and assailed of none, dizzy-eyed fury and great rage of heart suddenly made him from my side to start into the clustering battle of the French. And in that sea of blood my boy did drench his overmounting spirit, and there died my Icarus, my blossom, in his pride.
Oh, my dear lord, lo, where your son is born.
Enter soldiers with the body of John Talbot.
Thou antic death, which laugh'st us here to scorn, anon, from thy insulting tyranny, coupled in bonds of perpetuity, 2 Talbots, winged through the lither sky, in thy despite shall scape mortality. O thou, whose wounds become hard-favoured death, speak, thy father, ere thou yield thy breath. Brave death by speaking, whether he will or no. Imagine him a Frenchman, and thy foe. Poor boy! He smiles, methinks, as who should say, had death been French, then death had died today. Come, come and lay him in his father's arms. My spirit can no longer bear these harms. Soldiers, adieu. I have what I would have. Now my old arms are young John Talbot's grave.
Dies. Enter Charles, Alencon, Burgundy, Bastard of Orleans, Joan La Pucelle, and forces.
Had York and Somerset brought a rescue in, we should have found a bloody day of this.
How the young whelp of Talbot's raging wood did flesh his puny sword in Frenchman's blood.
Once I encountered him, and thus I said, Thou maiden youth, be vanquished by a maid. But, with a proud majestical high scorn, he answered thus, Young Talbot was not born to be the pillage of a giglot wench. So, rushing in the bowels of the French, he left me proudly, as unworthy fight.
Doubtless he would have made a noble knight. See where he lies, inert in the arms of the most bloody nurser of his harms.
Hew them to pieces, hack their bones asunder, whose life was England's glory, Gallia's wonder.
Oh, no, forbear! For that which we have fled during the life, let us not wrong it dead.
Enter Sir William Lucy, attended, herald of the French preceding.
Herald, conduct me to the Dauphin's tent, to know who hath obtained the glory of the day.
On what submissive message art thou sent?
Submission, Dauphin, 'tis a mere French word. We English warriors wot not what it means. I come to know what prisoners thou hast ta'en, and to survey the bodies of the dead.
For prisoners, askest thou? Hell our prison is. But tell me whom thou seekest.
But where's the great Alcides of the field? Valiant Lord Talbot, Earl of Shrewsbury, created for his rare success in arms, great Earl of Washford, Waterford, and Valence, Lord Talbot of Goodrig and Urchinfield, Lord Strange of Blackmere, Lord Verdon of Alton, Lord Cromwell of Wingfield, Lord Furnivall of Sheffield, the thrice victorious Lord of Falconbridge, Knight of the Noble Order of St. George, worthy St. Michael and the Golden Fleece, Great Marshal to Henry VI, of all his wars within the realm of France.
Here is a silly stately style indeed. The Turk that 52 kingdoms hath, writes not so tedious a style as this. Him that thou magnifiest with all these titles, stinking and fly-blown, lies here at our feet.
Is Talbot slain, the Frenchman's only scourge, your kingdom's terror and black nemesis? Oh, were mine eyeballs into bullets turned, that I in rage might shoot them at your faces! Oh, that I could but call these dead to life! It were enough to fright the realm of France. Were but his picture left amongst you here, it would amaze the proudest of you all. Give me their bodies, that I may bear them hence, and give them burial as beseems their worth.
I think this upstart is old Talbot's ghost. He speaks with such a proud commanding spirit. For God's sake, let him have him. To keep them here, they would but stink, and putrefy the air.
Go, take their bodies hence.
I'll bear them hence, but from their ashes shall be reared a phoenix that shall make all France afeard.
So we be rid of them, do with them what thou wilt. And now to Paris, in this conquering vein all will be ours, now bloody Talbot slain.
Exeunt. End of Act 4. Act 5 of Henry VI Part 1 by William Shakespeare. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 5, Scene 1. London. The Palace. Senate. Enter King Henry VI, Gloucester, and Exeter.
Have you perused the letters from the Pope, the Emperor, and the Earl of Armagnac?
I have, my lord, and their intent is this. They humbly sue unto your excellence to have a godly peace concluded of between the realms of England and of France.
How doth your grace effect their motion?
Well, my good lord, and as the only means to stop effusion of our Christian blood, and stablish quietness on every side.
Ay, marry, uncle, For I always thought it was both impious and unnatural that such a manity and bloody strife should reign among professors of one faith.
Beside, my lord, the sooner to effect and surer bind this knot of amity. The Earl of Armagnac, near knit to Charles, a man of great authority in France, proffers his only daughter to your grace in marriage, with a large and sumptuous dowry.
Marriage, uncle! Alas, my years are young, and fitter is my study and my books than wanton dalliance with a paramour. Yet call the ambassador, and as you please, so let them have their answers every one. I shall be well content with any choice tends to God's glory and my country's weal.
Enter Cardinal of Winchester, in cardinal's habit, a legate and 2 ambassadors.
What? Is my Lord of Winchester installed, and called unto a cardinal's degree? Then I perceive that will be verified. Henry V did sometime prophesy, if once he come to be a cardinal, he'll make his cap co-equal with the crown.
My lords ambassadors, your several suits have been considered and debated on, and therefore are we certainly resolved to draw conditions of a friendly peace, which by my Lord of Winchester we mean shall be transported presently to France.
And for the proffer of my lord your master, I have informed his highness so at large, as liking of the lady's virtuous gifts, her beauty, and the value of her dower. He doth intend she shall be England's queen.
In argument and proof of which contract, bear her this jewel, pledge of my affection, and so, my Lord Protector, see them guarded and safely brought to Dover, where in shipped commit them to the fortune of the sea.
Exeunt all but Cardinal of Winchester and legate.
Stay, my lord legate. You shall first receive the sum of money which I promised should be delivered to his holiness, for clothing me in these grave ornaments.
I will attend upon your lordship's leisure.
Aside.
Now Winchester will not submit, I trow, or be inferior to the proudest peer. Humphrey of Gloucester, thou shalt well perceive that neither in birth or for authority the bishop will be overborne by thee. I'll either make thee stoop and bend thy knee, or sack this country with a mutiny.
Exeunt. Scene 2. France. Plains in Anjou. Enter Charles, Burgundy, Alencon, Bastard of Orleans, Rainier, Joan La Pucelle, and forces.
This news, my lord, may cheer our drooping spirits. 'Tis said the stout Parisians do revolt and turn again unto the warlike French.
Then march to Paris, royal Charles of France, and keep not back your powers and dalliance.
Peace be amongst them, if they turn to us. Else, ruin combat with their palaces.
Enter Scout.
Success unto our valiant general, and happiness to his accomplices.
What tidings send our scouts? I pray thee, speak.
The English army that divided was into 2 parties is now conjoined in one, and means to give you battle presently.
Somewhat too sudden, sirs, the warning is, but we will presently provide for them.
I trust the ghost of Talbot is not there. Now he is gone, my lord, you need not fear.
Of all base passions, fear is most accursed. Commend the conquest, Charles, it shall be thine. Let Henry fret, and all the world repine.
Then on, my lords, and France be fortunate.
Exeunt. Scene 3. Before Angers. Alarum. Excursions. Enter Joan La Pucelle.
The region conquers, and the Frenchmen fly. Now help, ye charming spells and periapts, and ye choice spirits that admonish me, and give me signs of future accidents.
Thunder.
You speedy helpers, that are substitutes under the lordly monarch of the north, appear and aid me in this enterprise.
Enter Fiends.
This speedy and quick appearance argues proof of your accustomed diligence to me. Now, ye familiar spirits, that are curled out of the powerful regions under earth, help me this once, that France may get the field.
They walk and speak not.
Oh, hold me not with silence over long. Where I was wont to feed you with my blood, I lop a member of and give it you in earnest of further benefit, so you do condescend to help me now.
They hang their heads.
No hope to have redress? My body shall pay recompense, if you will grant my suit.
They shake their heads.
Cannot my body nor blood sacrifice entreat you to your wanted furtherance? Then take my soul, my body, soul and all, before that England give the French the foil.
They depart.
See, they forsake me. Now the time is come that France must veil her lofty plumed crest, and let her head fall into England's lap. My ancient incantations are too weak, and hell too strong for me to buckle with. Now, France, thy glory droopeth to the dust.
Exit. Excursions. Re-enter Joan La Pucelle, fighting hand to hand with York. Joan La Pucelle is taken. The French fly.
Damsel of France, I think I have you fast. Unchain your spirits now with spelling charms, and try if they can gain your liberty. A goodly prize, fit for the devil's grace. See how the ugly wench doth bend her brows, as if with Circe she would change my shape.
Changed to a worser shape thou canst not be.
Oh, Charles the Dauphin is a proper man. No shape but his can please your dainty eye.
A plaguing mischief light on Charles and thee, and may you both be suddenly surprised by bloody hands in sleeping on your beds.
Fell-banning hag, enchantress, hold thy tongue.
I pry thee, give me leave to curse a while.
Curse, miscreant, when thou comest to the stake.
Exeunt. Alarum. Enter Suffolk, with Margaret in his hand.
Be what thou wilt, thou art my prisoner.
Gazes on her.
O fairest beauty, do not fear nor fly, for I will touch thee but with reverent hands. I kiss these fingers for eternal peace, and lay them gently on thy tender side. Who art thou? Say that I may honour thee.
Margaret my name, and daughter to a king, the King of Naples, whosoe'er thou art.
An earl I am, and Suffolk am I called. Be not offended, nature's miracle, thou art allotted to be ta'en by me. So doth the swan her downy cygnet save, keeping them prisoner underneath her wings. Yet if this servile usage once offend, go and be free again as Suffolk's friend.
She is going.
Oh, stay! I have no power to let her pass. My hand would free her, but my heart says no, as plays the sun upon the glassy streams, twinkling another counterfeited beam. So seems this gorgeous beauty to mine eyes. Fain would I woo her, yet I dare not speak. I'll call for pen and ink, and write my mind. Fie, de la Pole, disable not thyself. Hath not a tongue? Is she not here? Wilt thou be daunted by a woman's sight? Ay, beauty's princely majesty is such, confounds the tongue, and makes the senses rough.
Say, Earl of Suffolk, if thy name be so, what ransom must I pay before I pass? For I perceive I am thy prisoner.
How canst thou tell she will deny thy suit, before thou make a trial of her love?
Why speak'st thou not? What ransom must I pay?
She's beautiful, and therefore to be wooed. She is a woman, therefore to be won.
Wilt thou accept of ransom, yea or no?
Fond man, remember that thou hast a wife. Then how can Margaret be thy paramour?
I were best to leave him, for he will not hear.
There all is marred, there lies a cooling card.
He talks at random, sure the man is mad.
And yet a dispensation may be had.
And yet I would that you would answer me.
I'll win this Lady Margaret. For whom? Why, for my king. Tush, that's a wooden thing.
He talks of wood. It is some carpenter.
Yet so my fancy may be satisfied, and peace established between these realms. But there remains a scruple in that too, for though her father be the King of Naples, Duke of Anjou and Maine, yet he is poor, and our nobility will scorn the match.
Hear ye, captain, are you not at leisure?
It shall be so, disdain they ne'er so much. Henry is youthful and will quickly yield. Madam, I have a secret to reveal.
What though I be enthralled? He seems a knight, and will not any way dishonour me.
Lady, vouchsafe to listen what I say.
Perhaps I shall be rescued by the French, and then I need not crave his courtesy.
Sweet madam, give me a hearing in a cause.
Tush, women have been captivate ere now.
Lady, wherefore talk you so?
I cry you mercy, 'tis but quid for quo.
Say, gentle princess, would you not suppose your bondage happy to be made a queen?
To be a queen in bondage is more vile than as a slave in base servility, for princes should be free.
And so shall you, if happy England's royal king be free.
Why, what concerns his freedom unto me?
I'll undertake to make thee Henry's queen, and put a golden sceptre in thy hand, and set a precious crown upon thy head, if thou wilt condescend to be my...
What?
His love.
I am unworthy to be Henry's wife.
No, gentle madam, I unworthy am to woo so fair a dame to be his wife, and have no portion in the choice myself. How say you, madam? Are ye so content?
And if my father please, I am content.
Then call our captains and our colours forth, and madam, at your father's castle walls will crave a parley to confer with him.
A parley sounded. Enter Rainier on the walls.
See, Rainier, see thy daughter prisoner.
To whom?
To me.
Suffolk, what remedy? I'm a soldier and unapt to weep, or to exclaim on fortune's fickleness.
Yes, there is remedy enough, my lord. Consent, and for thy honour give consent. Thy daughter shall be wedded to my king, whom I with pain have wooed and won thereto, and this her easy held imprisonment hath gained thy daughter princely liberty.
Speak Suffolk as he thinks.
Fair Margaret knows that Suffolk doth not flatter, face, or feign.
Upon thy princely warrant I descend to give the answer of thy just demand.
Exit from the walls.
And here I will expect thy coming.
Trumpets sound. Enter Rainier below.
Welcome, brave earl, into our territories. Command in Anjou what your honour pleases.
Thanks, Rainier, happy for so sweet a child, fit to be made companion with a king. What answer makes your grace unto my suit?
Since thou dost deign to woo her little worth, to be the princely bride of such a lord, upon condition I may quietly enjoy mine own, the country Maine and Anjou, free from oppression or the stroke of war, my daughter shall be Henry's if he please.
That is her ransom. I deliver her, and those 2 counties I will undertake your grace shall well and quietly enjoy.
And I again, in Henry's royal name, as deputy unto that gracious king, give thee her hand for sign of plighted faith.
Rainier of France, I give thee kingly thanks, because this is in traffic of a king.
Aside.
And yet methinks I could be well content to be mine own attorney in this case. I'll over then to England with this news, and make this marriage to be solemnized. So farewell, Rainier. Set this diamond safe in golden palaces as it becomes.
I do embrace thee as I would embrace the Christian prince King Henry were he here.
Farewell, my lord. Good wishes, praise, and prayers shall Suffolk ever have of Margaret.
Going.
Farewell, sweet madam. But hark you, Margaret, no princely commendations to my king.
Such commendations as becomes a maid, a virgin, and his servant. Say to him.
Words sweetly placed and modestly directed. But, madam, I must trouble you again. No loving token to his majesty?
Yes, my good lord, a pure unspotted heart, never yet taint with love, I send the king.
And this withal.
Kisses her.
That for thyself. I will not so presume to send such peevish tokens to a king.
Exeunt Rainier and Margaret.
Oh, wert thou for myself! But, Suffolk, stay, thou mayst not wander in that labyrinth. There minotaurs and ugly treasons lurk. Solicit Henry with her wondrous praise. Bethink thee on her virtues that surmount, and natural graces that extinguish art. Repeat their semblance often on the seas, that when thou comest to kneel at Henry's feet, thou mayst bereave him of his wits with wonder.
Exit. Scene 4. Camp of the York in Anjou. Enter York, Warwick, and others.
Bring forth that sorceress condemned to burn.
Enter Joan La Pucelle, guarded, and a shepherd.
O Joan, this kills thy father's heart outright. Have I sought every country far and near, and, now it is my chance to find thee out, must I behold thy timeless cruel death? Ah, Joan, sweet daughter Joan, I'll die with thee.
Decrepit miser, base ignoble wretch, I am descended of a gentler blood. Thou art no father nor no friend of mine.
Out, my lords, and please you, 'tis not so. I did beget her, all the parish knows. Her mother liveth yet, can testify she was the first fruit of my bachelorship.
Graceless, wilt thou deny thy parentage?
This argues what her kind of life hath been, wicked and vile, and so her death concludes.
Fie, John, that thou wilt be the obstacle. God knows thou art a collop of my flesh, and for thy sake I have shed many a tear. Deny me not, I pray thee, gentle Joan.
Peasant, I won't. You have upon this man of purpose to obscure my noble birth.
'Tis true. I gave a noble to the priest the morn that I was wedded to her mother. Kneel down and take my blessing, good my girl. Will thou not stoop? Now cursed be the time of thy nativity. I will the milk thy mother gave thee, when thou suck'dst her breast, had been a little rat's bane for thy sake. Or else, when thou didst keep my lambs afield, I wish some ravenous wolf had eaten thee. Dost thou deny thy father, cursed drab? Oh, burn hair, burn air, hanging is too good.
Exit.
Take her away, for she hath lived too long to fill the world with vicious qualities.
First, let me tell you whom you have condemned. Not me begotten of a shepherd swain, but issued from the progeny of kings, virtuous and holy, chosen from above, by inspiration of celestial grace, to work exceeding miracles on earth. I never had to do with wicked spirits, but you, that are polluted with your lusts, stained with the guiltless blood of innocence, corrupt and tainted with 1,000 vices, because you want the grace that others have, you judge it straight a thing impossible to compass wonders but by help of devils. No, misconceived. Joan of Arc hath been a virgin from her tender infancy, chaste and immaculate in very thought, whose maiden blood, thus rigorously effused, will cry for vengeance at the gates of heaven.
Ay, away with her to execution.
And hark ye, sirs, because she is a maid, spare for no faggots, let there be enow. Place barrels of pitch upon the fatal stake, that so her torture may be shortened.
Will nothing turn your unrelenting hearts? Then, Joan, discover thine infirmity, that warranteth by law to be thy privilege. I am with child, ye bloody homicides. Murder not then the fruit within my womb, although ye hale me to a violent death.
Now heaven forfend the holy maid with child.
The greatest miracle that e'er ye wrought, is all your strict preciseness come to this?
She and the Dauphin have been juggling. I did imagine what would be her refuge.
Well, go to. We'll have no bastards live, especially since Charles must father it.
You are deceived. My child is none of his. It was Alençon that enjoyed my love.
Alençon, that notorious Machiavel. It dies, and if it had 1,000 lives.
Oh, give me leave, I have deluded you. 'Twas neither Charles, nor yet the Duke I named, but Regnier, King of Naples, that prevailed.
A married man! That's most intolerable.
Why, here's a girl. I think she knows not well there were so many whom she may accuse.
It's sign she hath been liberal and free.
And yet, forsooth, she is a virgin pure. Strumpet, thy words condemn thy brat and thee. Use no entreaty, for it is in vain.
Then lead me hence, with whom I leave my curse. May never glorious sun reflex his beams upon the country where you make abode, but darkness and the gloomy shade of death environ you, till mischief and despair drive you to break your necks or hang yourselves.
Exit. Guarded.
Break thou in pieces and consume to ashes, thou foul accursed minister of hell.
Enter Cardinal of Winchester, attended.
Lord Regent, I do greet your excellence with letters of commission from the king. For know, my lords, the states of Christendom, moved with remorse of these outrageous broils, have earnestly implored a general peace betwixt our nation and the aspiring French. And here at hand the Dauphin and his train approacheth, to confer about some matter.
Is all our travail turned to this effect? After the slaughter of so many peers, so many captains, gentlemen, and soldiers that in this quarrel have been overthrown, and sold their bodies for their country's benefit, shall we at last conclude effeminate peace? Have we not lost most part of all the towns? By treason, falsehood, and by treachery, our great progenitors had conquered. O Warwick, Warwick, I foresee with grief the utter loss of all the realm of France.
Be patient, York. If we conclude a peace, it shall be with such strict and severe covenants as little shall the Frenchmen gain thereby.
Enter Charles, Alençon, Bastard of Orleans, Rainier, and others.
Since, lords of England, it is thus agreed that peaceful truce shall be proclaimed in France, we come to be informed by yourselves what the conditions of that league must be.
Speak, Winchester, for boiling choler chokes the hollow passage of my poisoned voice by sight of these our baleful enemies.
Charles and the rest, it is enacted thus, that in regard King Henry gives consent, of mere compassion and of lenity, to ease your country of distressful war, and suffer you to breathe in fruitful peace, you shall become true liegemen to his crown. And Charles, upon condition thou wilt swear to pay him tribute, submit thyself, thou shalt be placed as viceroy under him, and still enjoy thy regal dignity.
Must he be then as shadow of himself, adorn his temples with a coronet, and yet in substance and authority retain but privilege of a private man? This proffer is absurd and reasonless.
'Tis known already that I am possessed with more than half the Dalian territories, and therein reverenced for their lawful king. Shall I, for lucre of the rest unvanquished, detract so much from that prerogative as to be called but the viceroy of the whole? No, Lord Ambassador, I'd rather keep that which I have than, coveting for more, be cast from possibility of all.
Insulting Charles! Hast thou, by secret means, used intercession to obtain a league, and, now the matter grows to compromise, stand'st thou aloof upon comparison? Either accept the title thou usurp'st, of benefit proceeding from our king, and not of any challenge of desert, or we will plague thee with incessant wars.
My lord, you do not well in obstinacy to cavil in the course of this contract. If once it be neglected, 10 to 1, we shall not find like opportunity.
To say the truth, it is your policy, to save your subjects from such massacre and ruthless slaughters as are daily seen by our proceeding in hostility, and therefore take this compact of a truce, although you break it when your pleasure serves.
How sayest thou, Charles? Shall our conditions stand?
It shall. Only reserved, you claim no interest in any of our towns of garrison.
Then swear allegiance to his majesty, as thou art knight, never to disobey, nor be rebellious to the crown of England, thou nor thy nobles to the crown of England. So, now dismiss your army when ye please, hang up your ensign, let your drums be still, for here we entertain a solemn peace.
Exeunt. Scene 5. London, the Palace. Enter Suffolk, in conference with King Henry VI, Gloucester, and Exeter.
Your wondrous rare description, noble Earl, of beauteous Margaret hath astonished me. Her virtues graced with external gifts do breed love's settled passions in my heart, and like as rigour of tempestuous gusts provokes the mightiest hulk against the tide, so am I driven by breath of her renown, either to suffer shipwreck, or arrive where I may have fruition of her love.
Tush, my good lord, this superficial tale is but a preface of her worthy praise. The chief perfections of that lovely dame, had I sufficient skill to utter them, would make a volume of enticing lines, able to ravish any dull conceit. And which is more, she is not so divine, so full replete with choices of all delights, but with as humble lowliness of mind she is content to be at your command. Command, I mean, of virtuous, chaste intent, to love and honour Henry as her lord.
And otherwise will Henry ne'er presume. Therefore, my Lord Protector, give consent that Margaret may be England's royal queen.
So shall I give consent to flatter sin? You know, my lord, your highness is betrothed, and to another lady of esteem. How shall we then dispense with that contract, and not deface your honour with reproach?
As doth a ruler with unlawful oaths, one that at a triumph of having vowed to try his strength forsaketh yet the lists by reasons of his adversary's odds. A poor earl's daughter is on equal odds, and therefore may be broke without offence.
Why, what, I praise Margaret more than that? Her father is no better than an earl, although in glorious titles he excel.
Yes, lord, her father is a king, the king of Naples and Jerusalem, and of such great authority in France as his alliance will confirm our peace and keep the Frenchmen in allegiance.
And so the Earl of Armagnac may do, because he is near kinsman unto Charles.
Beside, his wealth doth warrant a liberal dower, where regners sooner will receive than give.
A dower, my lords? Disgrace not so your king, that he should be so abject, base, and poor to choose for wealth and not for perfect love. Henry is able to enrich his queen, and not seek a queen to make him rich. So worthless peasants bargain for their wives, as market men for oxen, sheep, or horse. Marriage is a matter of more worth than to be dealt with by attorneyship. Not whom we will, but whom his grace affects, must be companion of his nuptial bed. Therefore, lord, since he affects her most, it most of all these reasons bindeth us. In our opinion she should be preferred. For what is wedlock forced but a hell, an age of discourse and continual strife, whereas the contrary brings bliss, and is a pattern of celestial peace? Whom should be matched with Henry, being a king, but Margaret that is daughter to a king? Her peerless feature, joined with her birth, approves her fit for none but for a king. Her valiant courage and undaunted spirit, more than in women commonly is seen, will answer our hope in issue of a king. For Henry, son unto a conqueror, is likely to beget more conquerors, if with a lady of so high resolve as his fair Margaret he be linked in love. Then yield, my lords, and here conclude with me, that Margaret shall be queen, and none but she.
Whether it be through force of your report, my noble lord of Suffolk, or for that my tender youth was never yet attaint with any passion of inflaming love, I cannot tell. But this I am assured, I feel such sharp dissension in my breast, such fierce alarums both of hope and fear, as I am sick with working of my thoughts. Take therefore shipping, post, my lord, to France, agree to any covenants, and procure that Lady Margaret do vouchsafe to come, to cross the seas to England, and be crowned King Henry's faithful and anointed queen. For your expenses and sufficient charge, among the people gather up a 10th. Begone, I say, for till you do return I rest perplexed with 1,000 cares. And you, good uncle, banish all offence. If you do censure me by what you were, not what you are, I know it will excuse this sudden execution of my will. And so, conduct me where, from company, I may revolve and ruminate my grief.
Exit.
Ay, grief, I fear me, both at first And last,
Exeunt Gloucester and Exeter.
Thus Suffolk hath prevailed, and thus he goes, as did the youthful Paris once to Greece, with hope to find the like event in love, but prosper better than the Trojan did. Margaret shall now be queen, and rule the king, but I will rule both her, the king, and realm.
Exit. End of Act 5. End of Henry VI Part 1 by William Shakespeare.